And we are live. Happy Sunday to everybody who's been patiently waiting for the last 45 minutes or so to get this show on the road. We have a very, very long,
Sieh deinem Geld
meaty
beim Wachsen
stream
zu.
for you
Mit
today.
einem Rechnungsprogramm, das deine
I'm getting audio on a
Buchhaltung
different channel. One
automatisch
second.
miterledigt. Für Selbstständige, Freelancer
Let me
und
mute my own stream in my other tab. There we go. Welcome. We have a lot of people pouring in right now. I'm going to wait a couple minutes before I do my little dissertation on what I think is going to happen in Bills Bengals. Obviously, I got my slips over on the other side. If you guys are looking to fade and or tail them, I'll give my explanation for why I have who I have in a second. Or if you already listened to the podcast this week, the Bootleg Football Podcast, you probably know a lot about what I already think about this game. But just in case not, I'll go over it again here. Let me see if I got any early questions to answer real quick before I kind of do my little diatribe. Find a cure. Wow, Cure's already here. $2. Thank you, Cure. Appreciate that. There seems to be a flag missing. Yes, so as you know, I am moving, and I spent all morning trying to find it, and I think my wife packed it somewhere, and I will be finding it after the stream. I spent about 45 minutes trying to find it, and I could not find it anywhere. But I promise you, I will have it up for the podcast tomorrow, but I have to go digging through like 8 boxes in the garage. I promise you I will have it up tomorrow. I genuinely tried to find it. I'm never moving during season or draft season ever again, folks. It's a long process, very long process. Cure is bullying me. Cure bullies me every day. Trolls me constantly. Fair enough, when do I not? All right, so we got 65 people here so far. Let me tweet out that we went live just so people are aware. All right. So, here's what I'm thinking, folks. As it relates to Bills, Bengals, and what we're about to watch when this game kicks off in roughly half an hour or so, right? I think first down defense, as it relates to Cincinnati versus Buffalo, is going to be the key decider of this game. How does Buffalo handle Cincinnati on early downs? You know, when they are at their most ambiguous in terms of run or pass, you know, formation, concept, everything like that. Because if Cincy is getting early down chunks and they're avoiding getting bogged down and behind the sticks and into third and long where they have to pass protect longer on, 5 and 7 step drop back pass game because Alex Kapp is out, Jonah Williams is out, Lyle Collins is out, obviously, because he got hurt a while ago. 60% of their starting offensive line is gone. So if they're going to get explosives, I think they have to do it on early downs when it's possible the defensive line might be a little bit more run-oriented. So I was going through the data, and in between the 20-yard lines, because obviously we're taking red zone out of this, in between the 20-yard lines, on first down, the Bills heavily lean into cover 3, about 35% cover 3, close to 19% quarters, which is also a lot. And so how they present pre-snap generally against what Cincinnati is going to be lining up a lot as today. Generally, it's going to look something like this, right? So the backside corner, Jamar Chase is your X. He's always your X because he's going to be on the line of scrimmage. By the way, fun fact, you can usually tell which receiver is going to be going deep based on if they're actually on the line of scrimmage because it's easier to run a deep route if you're on the line of scrimmage. Just kind of takes away a little bit of that extra space you have to run, right? So Jamar Chase is the X. He's going to be on the line. And since he's isolated backside, in most of these coverages, it's going to be a press corner backside man-to-man, unless they're just straight up conceding it and bailing, which is also possible. I imagine the number 3 is going to be the tight end. Why not a receiver? Why not try to get the similar kind of matchup that we were talking about on Film Room this week where you get a receiver matched up on a linebacker? Why tight end? Because on early downs, again, you want to be able to at least threaten the run game. And typically how Cincy's going to run out of this formation, their most common run is going to be some kind of split zone, right? So you got this double team on the nose, which Daquan Jones is out, by the way, today, which is massive for Cincy. it's good for them because Daquan's a monster against the run. So you combo the nose, you work up to the will. Y comes back, does a sift block on the end, and then you get the cutback, right? So you need the Y at number 3 in order to threaten that, in order to make the defense respect run. So he's going to be here. You're going to get Tyler Boyd, your zebra, as McVay calls him, basically just what they call a slot receiver in 11 personnel, zebra. And then you got T. Higgins on the line of scrimmage as your Z, because again, you want to threaten him deep, right? So typically, as I mentioned, cover 3 and quarters are going to be 2 most common coverages that Buffalo calls in neutral downs, meaning neutral run pass situation in between the 20s. I don't think you can call quarters in this game and have it be responsible, because Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are better than all the corners that Buffalo has. I know Trey White is getting better week by week. He is not at the point, in my opinion, where you can line him up in pressing against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and expect success. And considering that Joe Burrow has 40% of his starting offensive line, the easiest way for him to get explosives is in the 3-step drop passing game. The only way you're throwing deep in the 3-step drop passing game is literally if it's I'm taking a quick little 1 step in the gun and I'm throwing a go ball immediately. Because a go ball is one of the only things that can get open immediately, right? And in quarters, this is going to be one-on-one, and this is going to be one-on-one, because these safeties are doing other things. This safety might be poaching number 3. This safety might be, doing working with the nickel and the number 2, depending on what call they're in. So generally, this backside one-on-one is always going to be one-on-one. Why, as a defense, would I make things easier on Joe Burrow by saying, sure, take one step and lob it up to Jamar Chase? We want to make it as hard as possible on him, right? So for me, quarters is out of the equation. I'm not calling quarters. I don't want to give one-on-ones to these receivers. It's possible they then lean more into the cover 3, which is already their most common coverage. Here's another issue with that. Let's say you're calling cover 3. Let me diagram this real quick. Let's say you're calling cover 3, which you still might match this backside man-to-man, because you don't want to straight up bail, because then you can get RPO'd to death, because then Jamar can just glance, right? So you still kind of want to match this man-to-man, but it's a little bit more conservative. You're not pressing. To me, you're going to play catch technique, so you're a little bit further off. So it's a little bit harder to get vertical on you. You don't want to press it, but you also don't want to be straight up bailing unless the will is sitting on it. But if the will is sitting on it, that's a whole different can of worms. Anyway, so I'm thinking free safety, rotating deep middle, right? You got him bailing to take T away over the top. You got the nickel. What you worry about is if this Y is fast to the flat, the nickel's going to be pushing there and then letting the zebra go. And this is the part that worries me, because if this strong safety is coming down to play this hook, now all of a sudden we got flood, right? And flood is like the Bengals' bread and butter out of trips a lot of the time. So what I worry about is if you have the nickel, don't push, and he's taking this from outside leverage to take away the corner, and the safety is coming down, now you got a whole bunch of space for the Y in the flat, or whoever. You got a whole bunch of space for the Y in the flat. So Hayden Hurst could be getting 1 billion catches. That's half the reason why I have him getting his over. If you're looking at the slip, over 3.5 receptions, because I think it's if any of them are going to get catches in flood, I'd rather Hurst get it in the flat, right? And so either you have the nickel with leverage on the 7 and you're giving up free catches of the Y, or you have the nickel push to the Y and you might be giving up a chunk on the 7. So either way, cover 3 is better than quarters because it's safer against the vertical from Chase and Higgins, but you're also still kind of just dying a slow death. For me, and I was talking to Cody Alexander about this. He's a brilliant coach. Used to work at Baylor. He's been all over, high school, college. Also wrote a wonderful book, multiple books, but this is one of my favorites. Complete Guide to the Hybrid 4-2-5. Cody Alexander, go pick up the book. It's amazing if you want to learn about defensive football. So we were kind of chatting, and it's like, okay, if quarters is out of the equation because you don't want to give free one-on-ones off the quick game, quick game. It's still vertical, but it's quick. And cover 3 is a little bit out of the equation because you feel like they're just going to out leverage you either way, either in the flat or on the 7. What do? If you look at the Bills' neutral down calls, they call cover 2 13% of the time. Decent amount of cover 2, right? I think we're going to amp that up like crazy today. So where's my eraser? Here it is. So get rid of this rotation. Get rid of this. Don't even worry about this. Right? Because we are solely just going off game plan here and based on how we know that they probably can't pass protect. So we're going to go cover 2 today. So he's expanding. He's expanding. That's taking away any potential vertical threat from Chase and from Higgins. If the Y's fast out, corner's trapping it. The nickel, I think, or actually I'll start over here. So if he's fast to the flat, again, corner's trapping it. You got hook help against a slant. Hook help. Kind of that skiff technique a little bit. It's like a seam curl. And then really the one thing you're worried about is if we kind of get like a switch here where the zebra pressures and then goes right up the pipe. That's like the one thing we're worried about. But again, that's a little bit slower developing. And so if I'm playing cover 2, I'm taking away the verticals down the boundary immediately. So I'm taking away their easiest chunk play. I'm taking away the slow death in the flats. And the only thing I'm worried about is if we get a conflict deep up the middle, but that's less likely to succeed than the verticals with Jamar. That is what I think we're going to see a lot today, is we're more relying on Hayden Hurst and we're more relying on Tyler Boyd. We take away the verticals with T and Jamar. And if Burrow can survive long enough in the pocket for this to even develop, because, again, you got to pressure the mic and then turn up the field. If Burrow can survive long enough in the pocket with 40% of a starting offensive line, you got bigger problems if you're Buffalo, right? So, to me, you play cover 2, you force him to read it out, and you force him to survive in a messy pocket long enough to make this throw. And if they beat you that way, you're not going to win anyway, right? Because now you're forcing them to like their plan D. So that's what I would do. And then if this doesn't work for Cincy, like if they can't stay in there and read it out, now I'm going back to the split zone, and I'm going to try to run them out of cover 2 to get them back into the cover 3 stuff so that I can try more of this, right? So that's how I kind of expect this to progress is, maybe they try cover 3 early just to see if it works. And then if they get flooded to death out of trips, then I think we see more cover 2 just to keep Jamar in check backside as well. And then it might be the Joe Mixon show from there on out. Because, again, there's no Daquan Jones. So I did not take the Mixon over in my slip. I probably should have, but I really liked Hayden Hurst over 3.5 receptions just because I think he's going to get so much work. So I took Hurst over 3.5 receptions. You could do Mixon. It's like 42.5 rushing or something like that. You could very easily do that, and I would accept it. I did Diggs over 82.5 receiving because this, in terms of how Buffalo matches up with Cincy, I kind of feel like we might see, ironically, this route. Because since he also runs a whole bunch of either 2-man or cover 2, I think it's more likely we get this from Diggs because they get him in motion a lot to try to get these matchups up the pipe. So I did Diggs over 82.5. I did Allen over 22.5 completions. I did McPherson getting 2 field goals because I'm not entirely sure on touchdowns here for Cincy, but I do think they'll at least get enough red zone possessions that we can get a couple McPherson field goals. And then I did Burrow under 282.5 passing. Not that I don't think he's going to have a solid day, but I think the Bills are just going to kind of put a tent over the top and force them to go the long way and force them to rely on the run game. So like 240, 250, I would probably go higher, but 282 is a little rich for my blood. The only way I think he gets over that is if the Bills just go like fucking potato brain and start giving free one-on-ones to Jamar and T down the boundary. At that point, yeah, anything's possible. But this plan seems obvious to me. Like, it seems obvious. You protect the boundaries deep and you make him do everything else. That's what I expect. So if you guys want to tail this based on, all these thoughts and research and speculation, obviously use promo code Brett at the link in the description on Underdog Fantasy. They will match your deposit up to $100, and you can use that on this game or the afternoon game because we're going to be streaming the whole way through. I have another slip ready to go for the afternoon game that we'll dive into in a little bit, in between games. Use it for the championship, Super Bowl, other sports, whatever you want to use it on. You basically just get a free $100 to use on the platform. So thank you to Underdog for, being a partner this year and making streams like this possible. Kickoff is in 14 minutes. Now that I've gone through my whole little diatribe, anybody have any questions? I hope all that made sense, by the way. I really do. But that's just kind of how I see the progression going here in this game. Just Vibing for $5. Thank you, Just Vibing. Thoughts on the Vikings going for Flores as a DC? Side note, I saw the loss in the Giants coming from 5,000 miles away. Yeah, I think everybody figured the Vikings were going down to the Giants. The defense was just so garbage. Brett, we're wearing matching hoodies. Yes, this is my Bengals hoodie. This is my Jamar Chase hoodie. Unfortunately, I do think that Bills are going to go out of their way to try to bottle him up today, so maybe he won't have a monster day. But it's a very comfortable hoodie. And by the way, I'm not just rocking Bengals stuff. I have a little Bills treat too. When I was in Buffalo for Packers Bills, was like week 8, something like that, and I was at the tailgate over in Mudlot. I ran into a man named Sergeant Major Jaskula, who runs a local distillery in Buffalo. It's called 13 Monkeys. All the proceeds, benefit the family of those KIA in Afghanistan. He dedicated this whiskey to his best friend, Sergeant Chris Dill, who he lost in 2005 in Afghanistan. But it's actually really, really damn good whiskey. And it is not just repackaged MGP stuff. If you guys are aware of the whiskey world, MGP is like the biggest distiller in the entire country, and a lot of brands just buy from MGP and then relabel it. They do not do that. They distill their own stuff, and it's really fucking good. So I got my Bengals hoodie and I got my Bills whiskey. I feel like I'm halfway between. But I'm gonna pour myself a little glass here. And they were very nice. I just rolled up and I was filming, and they're like, "Do you want a bottle?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So they just gave me one. It was awesome. It's really good stuff. So if you live in Buffalo, go get some 13 Monkeys. Bengals gonna roll. Sad to say, not if Burrow's on the ground. Not if Burrow's on the ground. That's for sure. So you're equally cursing both teams. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll see which curse cancels out. What's your pick, Brett? I favor Buffalo in this game, not by a lot, but I do, because Buffalo has problems themselves in the secondary, and not having Daquan Jones is a huge blow to the run defense. And the receiving core outside of Stephon Diggs has been incredibly inconsistent. So, there's warts on the Bills roster too, right? They're not a perfect team, but 60% of your starting offensive line being hurt is a really tough one to overcome. So I lean Buffalo in this game, not by much, but I do. Should be a good one, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'd be surprised if it was a blowout. I expect a pretty tight game. Man, we got a lot of people in here. Find it here for $2. Hear me out. Nathaniel Dell on the Bills. Nathaniel Dell. Why is that name escaping me? Is that a draft prospect? Oh, the Houston kid. Yeah, I just know him as his number. I didn't actually know his name because I'm still in the all-22 phase of this where I haven't watched any broadcast copy. Yeah. Yeah, he's fucking fast if he's the one I'm thinking of. I'm still at the beginning of my draft prospect studies. I'm still waiting for a whole batch of all 22 to come in from one of my coaching buddies, because smaller conferences is very tough to get. Tougher than it should be. I long for the days when there's going to be like a Game Pass version for college football, but there's too many interested parties that are fighting over who makes what kind of money, so I doubt that's ever going to happen. But for now, we rely on friends and coaches and the black market to satiate our needs for all 22. Tatted Jedi for $5. Waffles are better than pancakes. Wing flats are better than drums. If you could eat a Pokemon, which one would you eat and why? Here's the thing. Waffles taste better, but they're a pain in the ass to put butter in. So for that, I give the edge to pancakes. Also, if you have, there's a place in Tokyo called Bill's. If you've ever been to Tokyo, it's an Australian restaurant in the heart of Tokyo, and they do these like cheese hotcakes type thing. And they're like the fluffiest things you've ever had in your life. And they will change your life and immediately put you on Team Pancakes forever. So, if you ever find yourself in Tokyo, go to Bill's. Wing flats are better than drums. I am an equal opportunity wing enjoyer, so I have no opinion there. If you could eat a Pokemon, which one would you eat and why? Whew. That's an excellent question. Probably Taurus, right? Because this is beef, right? Is that the correct answer? Get some Taurus steaks. I know that's one of the original Pokemon, but it's literally just a cow. So I'm gonna go with that. Riker for $20. Thank you, Riker. Was watching QB school in preparation for this game, and JT said that Burrow might be the best back shoulder thrower ever. At first, I was like, no way, but then I watched, and he was like, you might be right. Your thoughts? He's absolutely deadly at it. And the thing that separates Burrow in terms of, how a lot of guys throw back shoulder versus how he is able to throw back shoulders. He can do it on the run, right? And so many times when you see a back shoulder fade, it's because, and we'll just use this as an example, let's just say they're on the hash and this is the boundary side and the corner is just stacking on top of the route, right? And so it's pretty easy. You check the leverage of the corner and you literally just throw back shoulder and you expect the corner to turn and get it. It's like, I don't know, 15 yards, something like that. Burrow is able to make the exact same back shoulder throw while running for his goddamn life all over the place and then finding T. Higgins 30 yards down the field back shoulder, right? That's what separates him. Is he doesn't need to have a perfect pocket or a perfect play or even having that be drawn up. He can create those crazy back shoulder throws on the run at will under any circumstance, and it's borderline unfair, So that's also one of the reasons why I don't think this game is going to be a blowout, because even if the Bills take away this stuff immediately, it doesn't mean that Burrow can't just run around and then create it in like a second phase of the play, right? He's insane. He's absolutely insane. All the best quarterbacks in the AFC. It's not even fair. Alan Collins for $5. Bills fan living in downtown Cincy. Extremely nervous. Hoping Kyer starts this game. He probably will, right? I would imagine he would. The Kyer Elam thing in Buffalo this year has been kind of odd, because he's just been like randomly benched at times. And I never thought that he was that much of a liability, but the coaching staff, they pull him out, they throw him in. It's been kind of up and down. He's a really talented kid, really hard worker. I think he's coming along to the point where he's not going to leave the lineup again. And I hope he doesn't leave the lineup again, because you kind of do, if you're a corner, you kind of do have to learn through live fire reps, right? I just feel like at times maybe they were a little bit too conservative in terms of taking him out of the games. I would have rather just left him in there and let him learn that way. But anyway, yeah, I hope he starts, and I hope he stays starting, because I think he's a really talented kid. Pronger, 5 for $10. Thank you, Pronger. Question I've been thinking about for a while. Who is more responsible for the Eagles' defensive success? the talented roster or the scheme, and DC Jonathan Gannon. Little column A, little column B. And keep in mind, Vic Fangio is also heavily involved in that defense too, right? He's a consultant for them. And the team announced that back in August, July, something like that Vic was joining their staff as a consultant. And I was talking to Cody about this week. Again, if you missed it earlier, Cody Alexander, brilliant defensive coach, wrote this book, Complete Guide to the 4-2-5. But we were talking about the Eagles defense, and he mentioned that Vic was working for them. And I was like, now that you mention it, their quarters percent on first down is like 30%, which is stupidly high. For reference, the Bills, who call a lot of quarters on first down, are at like 19%. And that's a Vic Fangio thing all the way, right? Is you're playing like odd fronts, tight, any kind of like 5-2 surface up front, or depending on the personnel grouping, it's a lot of 5-2. But anyway, getting besides the point, you put big bodies up front to stop the run. You play quarters behind it on the first down. That is Vic Fangio all the way, and that's what the Eagles are doing this year. So I feel like Fangio's fingerprints are all over that defense. And Jonathan Gannon obviously is the DC. He's the one calling it. But I also think that Fangio has had a big impact too. So as for like, if I was going to assign percentages, I have no idea. I really have no idea. I just look at it as good players being coached by good coaches equals blowing out the Giants in the playoffs. And, if Jonathan Gannon gets hired for a head coaching gig somewhere, great, more power to him. If D'Amico Ryans gets hired for a head coaching position somewhere and then Vic goes in and fills in as the new DC in San Francisco, I'd be very curious to see what the Eagles run next year, because without Gannon and without Vic, I have no idea what they would run, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Cure for $5. Thank you, Cure, once again. Here's a question for you. No reason at all. How much money for you to go bottoms up? On this much whiskey, I will not make it through. Here, there, you see, that's a generous pour. I will not make it through the rest of the stream if I do that. So I will politely decline suicide on camera because it will not go well for me. Oscar Askrup for $6. What's your favorite D&D class? What do I play in D&D? I think I was a rogue, right? That's the one that sneaks around with daggers. I haven't played D&D in forever. It's been like 6 years. Whichever. I think it's rogue, the one that sneaks around with knives. That was me. That was all me. I'm the coward. What are you drinking today? This is called 13 Monkeys. It's a local. Well, I don't live in Buffalo, but it's made in Buffalo by Buffalo natives. Benefits the families of those KIA in Afghanistan. Run by a wonderful man named Sergeant Major Jaskula. And it's really damn good whiskey. So if you live in Buffalo, go get yourself some. There it is. Rogue. See, I remember it correctly. It's very like it's like a peanut kind of taste to it, which it's not a peanut whiskey, but you do get a lot of peanut on it. It's wonderful stuff. Game scheduled live in 0 minutes, so this game should be coming on my second monitor. And then I will have the score bug on screen just like I did yesterday. Once the game starts, obviously. So let me get that up for myself. Watch live. Because kickoff is at noon, right? I think it is. Pretty sure it is. Is it named after the movie 12 Monkeys? Not to my knowledge. So on the label, it's dedicated. So Sergeant Major Jaskula, who runs the brand, his best friend and battle buddy, Sergeant Chris Dill, was killed on April 4th, 2005. And so 445 adds up to 13. That's why they call it 13 Monkeys. When I was talking to him, that was what he told me the origin of the name was. And it's really good stuff. It's really, really good stuff. Longtime follower from Brazil. Wow. International stream today. Love it. Where are all you guys from? I'm curious. Because when I look at my analytics, about 30% of my audience is international. But that's spread across Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, France, Brazil, Mexico, Russia, like everywhere, right? South Korea, although that might be from bases, but, maybe. Who knows? Got Italy, Toronto, Denmark, hello. Poland, Ottawa, Fargo. Fargo might as well be Canada, right? I still gotta go out to a North Dakota State game. I really got to get out there at some point because they got NFL talent every single year. You know what game I really want to go to, and I maintain this, the Brawl of the Wild, which is Montana versus Montana State. It's around Thanksgiving time every single year, and it's got the best rivalry name in all of college football, and I desperately want to go to that game so bad. I just got to convince EJ to come with me. We'll do a podcast from, God, where is Montana State? Is it in Billings? No, it's not in Billings. Man, there's not that many big cities in Montana. I should know this, right? All right, kickoff coming here. Let me get the score bug up. Riverside, yeah. See, I'm in the ass end of Orange County, basically in Corona. So you're not too far from me. Any chance you could turn your mic up a bit? Yeah. I'll just have my face close. Is that better for you guys? Just having my mouth, just swallowing my microphone. All right. Oh, we got a snow game. How about that? So Montana's in Missoula. Montana State's Bozeman. Bozeman. That's what it was. I knew it had a B in there. Yeah, really want to go to that game. It's awesome. All right, snow is really coming down now. I think they're supposed to get like an inch during the game. That lake effect does not mess around. And is that my first Hayden Hurst catch? Nope, that is Jamar. Oh, they put Jamar in the slot. That's fun. Brett's way behind. Yeah, I'm on a VPN through Germany watching on the international version. So I might be a play behind the people that are directly getting it over the air. But unfortunately, that's the only way I can stream a game on. My game just shut off. Oh, there we go. Just reconnected. My internet's being all fucky. There we go. You guys got me? Let me know. Oh, Spectrum, how much I hate thee. I hate the fucking monopoly the Spectrum has on Southern California. I really do. Another run here from the Bengals. Maybe I should have done the Mexican over 42.5. Maybe I outsmarted myself. I said it was probable, and here we are. So I missed a throw to Boyd, apparently. Hopefully we get a replay on that. So we need 3 more catches from Hurst, and we're good. By the way, this slip, if I hit all 5, I get $3,500. So, we are still on our quest for new bathroom floors today, folks. Ian Harbaugh, thank you for $1. Appreciate you. Hurst catch number, well, depending on where you guys are, I'm at 12:22. Where are you guys at on the clock right now? Maybe that was Hurst catch number 1 and I just saw it. So, yeah, I think I'm just behind. 12:10, 11:46. Wow, okay, we are all over the place. So, yeah, I think I'm a couple plays behind, but that's all right. That's all right. You guys just pause for 30 seconds and then hit play again. We should be synced up, right? Oh, what a throw from Burrow. Well, that was easy. So for me, it kind of looks like they're putting Chase inside, right? They're not even leaving him outside to get a cloud corner with a safety over the top. I think they're just putting him inside to try to force more of those one-on-ones. Where was he? Yeah, he was in the slot there. And then on a scramble drill, just turned up to the middle of the field. It looks like they were in cover 2 there. So we're half right. We just weren't right about where they were going to put Jamar Chase. Fun little schematic battles. You love to see it. You can have everything right until the coach is just like, no, we're not going to put him at X. Fuck you. We're going to do something entirely different than what we always do. Oh, man. Zach Taylor. I hate thee and love thee so. Cure for $2. Thank you, Cure. Brett, what state are you moving to staying in California? I'm staying in California. I'm just moving to a different spot soon in California. Ideally one where our most exotic restaurant around us is not a Chili's is what I'm shooting for here. Not that I don't like Chili's, but thing is, if you live in the ass end of the suburbs, where you are the youngest people in your neighborhood by 30 years, it can be a little bit boring. So we're gonna move to have better airport access, and something a little bit less soul draining than suburbia. Not that I knock anybody for living in suburbia, but our version of suburbia is not fun at all. Like I've been in suburbs in Cleveland, I've been in suburbs in Buffalo, Atlanta, all over the place. Much more fun suburbs there than Southern California. Frankie for $5. Do you plan on visiting Levi's Stadium next season? In season, yes. I mean, I'll be there for training camp anyway, but in season, yes. I ideally would like to go to a game. Hopefully I'll sit on the shaded side, though, because I've heard if you're on the sunny side in a day game, you get roasted. Are you German? My family's German. Well, I'm predominantly Scottish on my mom's side and German on my dad's side. Hence the name Coleman, spelled in the most German way possible. And then on my mom's side, I come from the Hume clan in Scotland. And then there's some Irish and British in there too. And Canadian, apparently. My wife's family is French via Canada. We traced her lineage all the way back to like the first 500 people to settle Montreal when it was a fur trading outpost, is when her family first came over from France. I think you missed my super chat. Let me go check on that, Brandon. Apologize for that. There we go. Brandon Davis. Is Jalen Johnson worth an extension or even above average? Well, we're only 2 years into it, but so far I would say yes, he is worth an extension. I think he's supremely talented, a good young corner. Obviously, gambles a little bit too much sometimes, but I don't think that they're going to get anybody more talented than him, without spending significant resources anyway. So once we cross that bridge in a year or two, as of right now, yeah, I would say he's worth an extension. I think he's a young building block that I really like. And I would keep him. I would keep him personally. Just hope he can play the ball at the catch point a little bit better in the future, that's all. It's like he's in phase, but sometimes just doesn't break up the pass. All right, Isaiah McKenzie getting a little bit of early work here. I still think I'm a little bit behind you guys, but it's all right. We'll roll with it. So we got 2nd and 8. Looking at most coverage data, I would imagine this is going to be cover 3. Oh, especially against empty. Maybe it's cover 2. And we're just going to take the curl. Easy money. Easy money. So 3rd and medium. If I recall correctly, they're a pretty man-heavy defense in that, but let me double check. So let's see. The Bengals are... What do they run? They don't really make... Oh, yeah, cover 1, 52%. That is a really man-heavy defense on 3rd and medium. Good Lord. And you see the guys going up to press. Yep, there it is. There's your man coverage. But do they bring pressure? I'm not sure they do here. So they only brought 5. They left a whole defender over the middle. And got him off the field. Good call. If they brought both, Allen probably would have just thrown hot over the middle. The fact that they dropped a whole defender to take away Knox on the quick hitter was big. So you're still getting 5 guys. So you're getting one-on-ones across the board, but you get inside help on Knox. So really good call. Josh could have hit that throw, though. It wasn't impossible for him. Difficult, but not impossible. So we got Cincy with an early 3-and-out and an early touchdown. We'll see if Buffalo can survive the script because they only scored in like 7 plays, so they're still in their script, right? So they still got some stuff from the game plan that they really want to go to early. We'll see if they have more success. I feel like Josh thought it was more of a fade. I think maybe he wanted to leave a little bit more air on it to give Stephon time to get there, but he threw it more on a line than he wanted to. So it just it went on him. But if he left more air on that and gave Stephon time to get there, it probably would have been, if not a big gain, maybe a touchdown even, you know? I'm surprised no one is considering the Bengals DC as a head coach candidate. If they were smart, they would. Lou Anarumo's been phenomenal this year. But I don't think he's gotten any interviews, which is odd to me, right? I don't think anybody's interviewed him yet at all. Well, that and the defender was dragging Allen down as he was throwing it. I didn't look at where his feet were, but you're probably right. Somebody probably had him. Thoughts on the coaching carousel? Well, there's like 10 offensive coordinator openings and 5 defensive coordinator openings and a bunch of head coaching openings. So there's going to be a lot of movement this offseason. I think the DeMeco Ryans domino is, other than Sean Payton, the most important one to fall here. But Sean Payton's a little bit of a different situation because if a team hires him, they also have to send like a first-round pick. So that one's kind of its own situation. But in terms of like traditional, coordinators getting elevated, DeMeco Ryans is the one that I think most people are waiting to see where he chooses before other stuff happens, right? But as long as the Niners keep winning, it might be a while before he picks a spot. Oh, there we go. Find a cure for $5. Thank you, Cure. Speaking of that, my girlfriend has been hounding me for that photo of your wife's cousin. It's been bothering her. I think I have one from our wedding. Let me see if I can find that. I think I have one lying around from our wedding. I'll hunt for that. I'll hunt for that tonight as well while I go find that flag, right? All right, Bengals back at it. And there's your split zone call that we talked about. Getting 4 yards out of it. We'll take that. Nice tackle from Edmonds, too. Brett, where do you get your coverage data from? I get that from a database that the league gave me access to when I started to do work for them and make content for them. They're like, here, you'll probably need this in order to make these videos we want you to do. And I said, thank you very much. That is all the payment I require. And it is a treasure trove of data that I do not. Oh, God, Mixon broke that one. Yeah, Mixon's going to hit his over in the first quarter. God, I wish I did that. Yeah, it is an unparalleled treasure trove. It's if you're familiar with Pro Football Focus, it is accumulated by them, and there is public facing PFF and there is private PFF, and the private PFF is like it's unbelievable. It is truly unbelievable, and I wish I could properly describe it. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, but the league gave it to me to do work for them, and it is by far the most valuable resource that I have ever seen. It's insane. And it's the same resource that like the actual teams use, right? Because PFF does it better than everybody else, like by far. Here we go, 2nd and 4. Another split zone. That was with Samaje, I think, right? Samaje's over-under was like 15 and a half yards rushing. Now I kind of wish I did both of them. Easy Dune 45 for, let's see, 10,000 IDR. I'm not familiar with what currency that is, but I appreciate you and I thank you very much. Oh, Indonesia. There we go. Indonesia. How about that? Greetings from Indonesia. Longtime bootleg follower. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for the donation. Really, really appreciate that. All right, 1st and 10 here for Cincy. Finally, play action shot. And T. Higgins getting involved for the first time on that little hitch. How'd you get involved with working with the league? Funny. Well, so I used to work at NFL Network years ago, right? God, when did I? The day before the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl was my last day at NFL Network. And then I went and did YouTube full-time starting that Super Bowl Sunday, right? And I was in Joshua Tree over the summer, right before the season started this year. And just randomly, in a saloon in Joshua Tree where there was like 5 other people in the entire place, I ran into my now friend, Andrew, who runs the NFL YouTube channel. And he recognized me, and we got to talking. And, you know, we know a lot of the same people at NFL Network because he, ironically, was there at the same time I was, but we just didn't work in the same department, so there's no crossover. And, you know, that relationship turned into a friendship and a working relationship, obviously, because I do stuff for his team for the NFL YouTube channel. And it's the most freak coincidence, but best freak coincidence. There we go. We're back. All right, I'm gonna go bitch out Spectrum like at some point today. This is ridiculous. It was fine yesterday. I don't know what's happening. And you know what's bullshit? I pay for a gig down, and it still does this to me. Oh, Burrow just took a huge sack from Terrell Basham. Massive loss. But was that a first down on D? Oh, no. Penalty on who? Oh, offside. Okay. My stream came back like in the middle of Burrow running for his life, so I didn't see the offside. That's hilarious. How offside was he? Oh, he was way offside. That wasn't even close. Oh, man. All right, so we got Bengals marching in the high red zone. Mixon's going to hit his overs in like the first 10 minutes of the game. R.I.P. me. I outsmarted myself again. This game is going to be worse than Eagles-Giants? I don't think so. Like, it's Josh Allen on the other side. Like, come on now. Now, the Bengals are scoring a lot easier than I thought they would. And I'm very curious to get to the All-22 to see exactly what the Bills are even doing. But that's a nice little tackle from Milano there. But it does seem like the run defense without Daquan Jones has been incredibly soft. And keep in mind, against the style of runs that Cincy uses, which is a lot of zone runs, even with Daquan Jones, the Bills were still pretty atrocious against outside zone. Their average depth of tackle against outside zone this year was like 5.4 yards, right? Past the line of scrimmage. So their average depth of the tackle was halfway to a first down. They're really bad against outside zone. And it's even worse when you don't have your best run defending interior lineman, right? So, ugh. In hindsight, I should have. Well, there's my second catch for Hurst at least, so maybe it's not too bad. In hindsight, I should have trusted Mixon from a schematic perspective. I was a little bit scared because obviously since he's down 3 offensive linemen, so I was scared off a little bit about it. But I should have trusted the scheme, man. Should have trusted the scheme. Bengals coaches are just ripping him a new asshole right now, though. Best pages about NFL stats besides PFF and basics. That's the thing. Is like PFF stats wise is so much further ahead than everybody else that it's hard for me to like even compare. But I would say StatHead, if we want like historical stuff, StatHead's good for that. Not necessarily the same for like, obviously coverage data and trends and that kind of stuff we can use for analysis. But in terms of historical reference, I think StatHead is the best there. And then there's another one that NFL Research uses, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but I don't have a subscription to it because it costs like $10,000. It's more like a media centric thing. I wish I could remember it. But that's where like the NFL research department gets all their stuff. Pro Football Reference. Yeah, I think Pro Football Reference is like the free version of StatHead, if I recall correctly. Let me see if I've missed any other super chats here. I don't think I did. I think I'm all caught up. Just double checking. Yeah, I think I'm caught up. What do you use for the coverage stats? I use Pro Football Focus because they to me tend to be the quickest and most reliable. And also, when I have questions about why something was called a certain coverage or why a player was attributed a certain thing, PFF is very good at like explaining to me why something was graded the way it was, right? Like to me, they've always been very open about why something was graded that way, which I appreciate. I like the transparency. And like on their podcast, they do like an explain the grade segment every week, which I always find to be pretty refreshing. And sometimes when things don't look right, they'll at least like say like, oh yeah, we went back and we did our second pass and we fixed it or changed it or whatever. So I've always liked their transparency about it. Do the Chiefs have a shot at beating the Bengals? I mean, the Chiefs beat the Jags, who are objectively a good team, with like half of a quarterback. So yeah, I would say so. I would say so. All right, so we're looking at, I'm trying to see what time on the clock we're in. I think are we second quarter? I don't think so yet. I think we're still late first. Yeah, late first quarter, 14-0 already. I don't want to say like this is a must-score drive for the Bills, but it kind of feels like it, right? It kind of feels like it. Like they kind of need just some kind of answer, even if it's a field goal, to make it an 11-point game. Because if they give up another quick score and it's like 21-3 or 21-0, I mean, that feels not insurmountable, but pretty fucking close. So Bills need to answer here. Brett, I got to know, how much does a bottle of 13 Monkeys cost? I want to grab some of it, but I'm broke. You know what? I don't actually know. I can look that up for you, but off the top of my head, I don't know. Because I had it tossed to me off the back of a fire truck, which is not a normal way to purchase alcohol. So I off the top of my head, I don't know. That's why I love Buffalo, by the way. You go to a tailgate and somebody throws whiskey at you from a fire truck. All right, Tripp's nub look. Motion going the other way. Was that James Cook getting his first carry? Yep. I don't think you want Allen playing hero ball in the second half. Unfortunately, if you're down 21-0, there might be no other way to win this game than for Allen to literally just be a hero. Is it on the West Coast? To my knowledge, no. I think it's more of just a local Western New York thing, but I mean, they probably ship, right? All right, trips to the field again. Diggs in motion. Not seeing a too high look. Looks like they're in cover 3 still. Oh, Allen got it out. That's incomplete. It's incomplete. Not a fumble. They didn't call that a fumble, did they? Yeah, I don't think they called that a fumble. $55 a bottle for 13 Monkeys. I can tell you right now, I would pay $55 for this. It's really nice. Yeah, that's incomplete to me. He flipped it. His arm was going forward. But especially if you like whiskeys that have like kind of a lot of peanut up front, right? But without being like peanut butter flavored like Screwball, but you want something like a very peanut forward palate. 13 Monkeys is good. Josh Allen is Jameis if he had proper development. Jameis could never run like Josh Allen. Like, I would say Jameis in terms of temperament, right? Because I compared him to Jameis last week in terms of like the turnovers and the temperament and the hero ball. If we're just talking physical skill set, obviously they're different. But I understand what you're trying to say, right? Like the turnovers are, and the jitteriness. Yeah, that's I would agree with that. To live in a state that allows alcohol shipments to private homes. Yeah, when I was in Utah recently, I found out how hard it is to buy alcohol in that state. And I feel for anybody who lives in Utah because, God, it's frustrating. It is so frustrating just trying to get a drink there. What are good man beaters on third and medium? Mesh all day. Because you just get crossing routes. You know, if you're lucky, you'll get a good rub. And it's like crossing routes are one of the hardest things to stop in man coverage, right? Because once they get inside of you and out leverage you, and then it just becomes you're running laterally, then it's a speed equation, right? And most DBs are not fast enough to make up for also being out leveraged inside. You need somebody who's like Tariq Woolen to do that, or prime Jalen Ramsey or Sauce, somebody like that. So that's why mesh always works against man on third down, because it's like the hardest route for a DB to cover. In man, that is. McDermott's not getting fired, folks. Come on now. If McDermott got fired, he would be hired again. Like, teams would fire their coaches that day to hire him. Like not Sean McVay. Fucking Mike McCarthy would get fired immediately to bring in Sean McDermott. And Mike McCarthy's in the divisional round today. And Jerry would be like, I will pay any amount of money to get that man on my team. Like there's very few coaches that in the league that people would take over Sean McDermott. It's like 5, you know. Belichick would be fired to get Sean. Who's the GM? That's my question. Who's the GM? All right, Burrow slinging it again. I got to hold on to that one. So interesting note here is when it's snowy, depending on what type of snow it is, if it's a wet snow versus a dry snow, sometimes gloves can actually work against you, right? Because when the modern receiver gloves get wet, they're actually very slippery and slick. And some, like especially like rain games, you'll see receivers sometimes take their gloves off because their hands naturally are better at catching when it's wet. So the type of snow, oh man, what a PBU. Full extension. That's like almost the exact same extension we saw last night in the Jacksonville game. Dane Jackson got up there. Great play by him. But if it's a wet snow, sometimes you'll see receivers kind of either take their gloves off or maybe switch types to like a more of a something that's not the same material, because when that material gets wet, it's really slick. So that's not Hurst, right? No, it's Irvin. Or Irwin, excuse me, not Irvin. Thinking of Tyler Irvin, I don't know why. Burrow's hand size concerns really going out the window right now. I mean, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's not, if you're like 9 inches, 9.25 inches, you're still fine, generally. Like, is it better to have 10-inch hands? Yeah, probably, but it's not a requirement like people make it out to be. All right, 1st and 10 here, 2x2. Looks like quarters on the back end for Buffalo. Might be cover 2. No, they're dropping down to cover 3. Looks like 3 seam there. Oh, Boyd. Oh, he didn't catch it. Ballsy throw against 3 seam, though. I'd love to see the other angle to see where that post safety was. Great placement, though, to not leave him inside and to let him just try to adjust to it outside. Because if you try to throw that inside and ear hole the defender, unfortunately, you're close enough to the post safety, they might get your receiver killed. So, good throw there from Burrow. Almost caught. All right, so we're getting a 3rd and 8 here from Buffalo. I would expect that to be... So they are 40% man coverage, 20% cover 2, almost 0 quarters, very little cover 3. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Bengals. Where are they? Oh, 30% cover 3. So they actually play a lot of cover 3 here. So cover 3 or quarters is what we can expect. Against trips, this kind of looks like a fire zone. No, they backed out of it. And got the sack anyway. All right, Buffalo finally got off the field. Good for them. I didn't see the covers on the back end because the CBS angle is so damn tight. But I would love to see a replay so we can get some kind of context for this. Oh, they rotated. They did like a 2 roll there. That's fun. So what they did, let me see, where's my marker? Stand by. Almost there, folks. Almost there. Promise. Get that, get that, get that, get that. I didn't see what formation the offense was in, but that's fine. We don't need it. We don't need it. All right. So how that works, let's say Burrow's here, blah, is he is now playing the deep half. There we go. There we go. We're connected. We're connected. Fucking Spectrum. Swear to God. So we got two rolls. Like you're playing cover two, but you're rolling into it, right? So it's like you're presenting a middle field close coverage, but you're getting into cover two after the fact. And so you're still playing the flat here. So in case you get like a quick out from three or number two, whatever, you're still playing the flat here to trap that. And the Will is playing the flat over here, which I actually think I might have had it backwards. It might have been the safety. I think it was 31, right? 31 played the flat, and I think the strong safety is what rolled. I didn't see it exactly because CBS won't give me the wide angle, but so basically just switch these two, right? So free safety, flat, Will, hook, safety there, right? But just think of two roll as the corner is going back to play the deep half and one of the safeties is playing the other deep half, and then they fill out the 5 underneath zones with other guys. And it's a great way to show middle field closed and then get into cover two on third down. Very nifty call. Very nifty call. All right, let me reconnect here on my fucking Spectrum. I swear to God. Oh, and watch when I move. I bet it's going to be Spectrum there too, because they have a stranglehold on this part of the country. It's so annoying. It's all right though. We're making it work. We're making it work, family. But let me know if that made sense for you guys. I hope it did. Hope it did. Just trying to give you guys context for what you're seeing as we're watching it together, right? Big T shot for $2. Fire Ken Dorsey as OC/play caller if the Bills lose? No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. Again, they were still like a 13-win team. Potentially could have been a 14-win team. I think it was his first year ever calling plays. Like I'm not firing him. I'm giving him another year. I mean, if we can give Josh Allen 3 years to develop, can we give Ken Dorsey 2 years to develop as a play caller? Right? Wait, didn't you used to work for Spectrum? Yes, I did. I worked for Spectrum Sportsnet back in the day. Covering Lakers, Dodgers, all that. But you know what? As a former Spectrum employee, I could tell you the TV coverage, TV network, great. The internet, not great. Unfortunately. Allen ripping the seam ball there. I think that was to Diggs. Yep, yes, it was. Who do you think should win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year? Sauce for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year is probably going to be Kenneth Walker or Chris Olave is my guess. One of those two. And, Allen had to hold on the RPO, get a few yards out of it. See if there's any other super chats that I missed. Potato. Thank you very much, Potato. I appreciate that. Big donation. Love it. Thank you very much. That's awesome. To answer your question, Daniel Jones re-signed 25 to 30 mil per year or let him go. If it's 25 to 30 million, I could see it. If we're pushing 35 to 40 million, I'm saying no, right? And it also depends on what the guarantees are. Like, can they get out of it after a year or two, or is it a 3-year fully guaranteed deal? Two very different equations, right? But if it's like a 3-year $80 million deal, or 3-year even like $85 million deal, all guaranteed, as long as they could get out of it after 2 years, not even all guaranteed, if they could get out of it after 2 years and pay him 30 to 32, I'm okay with it. But if it's all guaranteed at 35 per, I struggle with that, right? I struggle with that immensely. And plus, we don't know what's going to happen with Saquon either. All right, Bills' offense is getting going. A couple nice seam balls to Diggs. Little smoke route to Beasley from the slot. So the thing with Saquon is like, you already went through your fifth-year option, so you either have to franchise tag him for a lot of money or sign him to an extension. Either way, he's going to be expensive for at least this year. They had immense cap troubles last year, and to my recollection, it's not that much better this year, cap space-wise, if I recall correctly. Ooh, Allen barely got that one off to throw it away. So you're making a couple tough decisions. Obviously, I love Saquon. He's an elite running back. But if you have to pay your quarterback $35+ million, do you also want to pay your running back a lot of money too? That's the part I'm not so sure of. So in terms of, because the roster itself is so bad, like I think that was made clear last night. Like Saquon and Daniel Jones could not have saved that game because the roster differential between them and Philly is so stark, right? So there's so many holes that I think we need resources to be able to fill those holes, and resources that I don't think that they can afford to allocate to a quarterback and a running back. As no matter how good that running back is, I don't think they have the resources to allocate to him right now. And the quarterback who, for my money, is good at some things, but not good at the right things to get them over the hump against teams like Philly and San Francisco. Like, do I want to allocate a whole bunch of resources to him? And I lean towards no to both of those questions. So we'll see what they do. And I know it's tough because they made the playoffs and Giants fans are like, we want to keep this rolling, but you gotta spend smart if you want to build a sustainable franchise, right? You gotta spend smart. You were already in a hole cap wise last year. You don't want to just keep digging if you don't think you have to, right? God, DJ Reader's good. He's so good. All right, under center. Was that 12 personnel? And they got the sneak on fourth. Nice. Move like Jay for $5. As a fellow Spectrum user, I'm glad I'm not alone in this pain. Yeah, see, you know. It's garbage. When it works, it's great, but when does it work? Not a lot. Anime Holic Tops for 2 years. Thank you. Do you think Leslie Fraser's job is in danger? I still don't believe so. I don't think so. They sustained a lot of injuries this year. I think he'll be back next year. All right, looks like quads here. Yep. Oh, God. Pressure got there immediately. See, no, that's not a fumble. He was down. The thing is, if you can play like straight up soft quarters coverage where we got four guys just sinking deep, right, and putting a tent over the top of the offense, and you can get pressure up front immediately, there is no offense on earth that can stop that. Or that can beat that, I should say. I mean, God, Reader just demolished him. There's nothing you can do about that because you can't go deep. Your quarterback's under threat immediately. Like, everybody's got eyes on him underneath, so he can't run either. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. And we're running on 1st and 20. Not sure I agree with that decision. Because now we're 2nd and 12? Like that was a pretty big negative EPA play calling decision. Because unless you're running for 10 yards to set up 2nd and 10, like if your best case scenario is like 2nd and 10, like you might as well just throw it, right? Definitely quarters here on 2nd and 16. See, that's how you get out of a hole. You throw the ball. This first down run stuff when teams get in like first and very long, like I never understand it. Like if you get a holding call on first down, throw the ball. Throw the ball on 1st and 20. Because you're not going to run your way out of that. Good route by Shakir. All right, low red zone. We got Diggs man-to-man with Cam Taylor-Britt outside. Definitely a size advantage for Taylor-Britt, quickness advantage for Diggs, but they're running it and getting obliterated. I would have liked to maybe see them give Diggs a shot on that because Britt was head up. He was not leveraged inside. So if you run like a burst slant over there, you might be able to win on that, but it's fine. Line back up, do it over. Potato for 50 again. Thank you very much. Anyone wants Kenny Golladay? He's an amazing blocking receiver with a touchdown catch. 1 touchdown catch, by the way. One of the worst modern contracts ever. Oh, my God. Dude, what is this low red zone play call? Are they getting it anyway? No. All right, I'm getting rid of the bots. I promise. There we go. Jesus Christ. Again? Hide user. Fucking annoying ass bots. All right. So you're 3rd and goal. You're probably in 2-down territory here considering the circumstances. And they're in anyway. All right, GG's. Not GG's. Good drive. Recon goes 189 for 449. Thank you very much. What would you give up for Rodgers in a trade if you were a GM? Also, who do you think has the edge in an Eagles-San Francisco matchup? What would I give up for Rodgers? I mean, you're getting him for only a couple years at most, right? So, 2nd-round pick, right? Probably a 2nd-round pick. And then as for who do I think has an edge in an Eagles-San Francisco matchup, assuming the Eagles are healthy and that, Lane Johnson doesn't suffer any setbacks and everything like that, I would favor the Eagles. But it comes down to health. Because they're playing hurt and they're battling through it, but it does come down to health. But, Lane Johnson, both of their tackles, I think, can do an adequate job against Nick Bosa. Their receivers, I think, Charvarius Ward is excellent, but I think you got an even talent matchup out there with Devonta and A.J. Brown. The one worry you have is Fred Warner. He's going to completely shut down the middle of the field, but as long as you can win to the boundaries, which Jalen Hurts is a wonderful thrower outside the numbers, you can still make hay. So I would favor the Eagles very slightly, but that's who I'd go with. Only 1 2nd-round pick for Rodgers. I mean, if you're getting him for a year, you want to give up a 1st-round pick for a quarterback you're getting for a year? Like, he's 38. Like, if we're getting him for 5 years, that's a different discussion. But I don't know if he's playing for that long. Because every single year, it's, maybe I'm retiring, maybe I'm not. Like, unless it's, like, ironclad, 100%, he's playing for 3+ years. Then, fine, 1st-round pick. But, like, we don't know how long he's playing. And he doesn't even know how long he's playing. So I'm not giving up a 1st-round pick for a quarterback I might only have for a year. See if I missed any other super chats. I don't think I did. I think I'm all caught up. Yeah, I'm caught up. Sweet. I don't know, chat. If you disagree, let me know. But like, even for Aaron Rodgers, I'm not paying a 1st-round pick for 1 year of a quarterback. Unless literally the rest of my team is complete. And it's the only thing we need. But there's not a whole lot of those, you know? But it sounds like if the Jets are going after Hackett, it's because they want to make a play. Oh, Spectrum. I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter. Cause oh my God. This is ridiculous. It's like every 20 minutes. It'll shut off for like 5 seconds. And then just recycle again. And they changed the node outside my house like a couple weeks ago, and it's been fucked up ever since. Ugh. All right, anyway, trips to the field here. And we got Samaje getting an easy 5. All right. Best thing the Bengals can do right now is not bleed clock, go for explosives, try to get a quick score, and then give the Bills not just enough time for a drive, but enough time for the Bengals to then get the ball back again, right? Because if you try to bleed too much clock and then you give the ball with Allen with like 2 minutes left, like I would rather try to push the tempo here, like really up tempo it, try to get some explosives and score quick, even if it's just a field goal, right? To give yourself time for another possession. That's what I would do, at least. Rodrigo for 129. Thank you very much. Any advice on where to start to analyze plays as you do? I'm already reading Football Scouting Methods by Steve Belichick. I have a couple answers for that right after this play. So Chase at the X, really condensed. Running with Mixon again. God, I wish I did the over on him. He would have already hit it. So there's a whole bunch of wonderful books that you can use. So I talked about this multiple times. The Pass Coverage Glossary from Cameron Soren. Great book. Teaches you a lot about different coverages. Bobby Peters, friend of mine, has a whole series of books where he like chooses a couple offenses per year and like breaks down all the concepts they use and how they call it and when they called it and everything like that. This is the 2018 Bears Manual, which was the first year of Matt Nagy. So if you want to learn some Andy Reid tree stuff, that's a great book. Oh, Burrow going for it. And too deep. And then my other friend, Cody Alexander, writes excellent books on defense like this one, The Complete Guide to the Hybrid 4-2-5. Cannot recommend this enough. And then on offense, my other friend, Coach Dan Casey. Coach Dan Casey writes a lot of great books like, 100 different ways to run mesh, 100 different ways to run counter. He's a valuable resource for the offensive side of the ball as well. So Dan Casey, Cody Alexander, Bobby Peters, Cameron Soren, all those authors and coaches are invaluable resources. I feel like the Bengals have been in trips like 90% of the time today, and it's been working like crazy. There's Hurst. I think we're back. It's like getting more frequent now. Like, do I need to reset my internet? Like, this is fucking stupid. It worked fine yesterday. I might like leave the stream up, but at halftime I might go reset my Wi-Fi. Actually, no, I'm hard lined in. I'm on a Cat 5. What the fuck? No, I'm not even on Wi-Fi. I'm on a Cat 5. It should work. This is fucked. I don't know. All right, Samaje getting work done again. Bills' run defense has been awful today. Just awful. Like, they're getting completely blown off the ball without Daquan Jones. Like, look at that backside double. Getting all the room they want. Like, split zone, I swear to God, they're averaging like 8 yards a carry on split zone today. It's just gross. And, like, if you can't stop the run when they're out 60% of the starting offensive line, what are you supposed to do? Ravens would have rushed for 250 plus. I mean, maybe. If Lamar's playing, probably. Getting hit by a lag switch. My fondest memories, and by that I mean my least favorite memories as a child, were, running up on somebody with a Scavenger Pro noob tube with a lag switch, just accepting your fate. Mixon again. Ugh. Even by Bills standards, this is just terrible run defense. And they haven't been that good this year against the run anyway. Every time Brett is lagging, the stream is getting closer to real time. So I'm at 256. What are you guys at? I wonder how far behind I am now. Yeah, I think I'll restart my router at halftime. So again, I'll be gone for literally 30 seconds. You guys don't need to leave or anything like that, but that might fix the issue. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. Because this stream is going to go for, 8 hours today? Because we're doing this game, and then we're going straight through to the end of the Cowboys 49ers game. So I'd prefer not to have this happen for 8 straight hours. I'm only 15 seconds back. Okay. So oddly enough, the lags are helping in terms of getting on time. So we got a sniffer up there. Samaje, great blitz pickup. So if you guys noticed how Samaje Perine was lined up, maybe they'll show a replay. He was up here in the A gap. They call this a sniffer position because when you walk these two linebackers down and you're showing a double A gap blitz, you don't want your running back further back here that has to eat more grass. You want him in a sniffer because if you're fanning, actually be more here, but if you're fanning out and you're leaving the A gap vulnerable, you want him to fill that immediately so the front of the pocket doesn't get immediately caved in, right? So eat grass, get in the A gap, pick it up, give Burrow time to hit Chase as the X backside. That is why you see him lined up that way. It's a dead giveaway. It's a pass play, but on 3rd and 4, you're going to pass anyway, so they don't care about tipping their hand on that. It's more so we got to get the protection right. So it's a very common answer against double A gap looks is so you have the sniffer pick up one of them and the center picks up the other. Brett, do you think the Colts feel like they got an improvement at QB over Wentz, or would that line have effed over anyone? I think no matter what, they were going to be bad this year. In retrospect, I should have seen it coming because the offensive line was, on paper, not even like that good before the year. But, when you're relying on a rookie left tackle and then Quentin Nelson had a major regression year, he was not himself. Braden Smith regressed. Like, you were kind of going into the year under the assumption that the guys that are good on their line, or at least were good before, would stay that way. And not only did you have young players that are trying to develop and come along, but the older players on the line didn't play well either. So, like, the one mainstays you could count on were also giving up sacks. So it was just bad all around. I don't think any quarterback could have succeeded there. Why has Quentin regressed? I might do an episode on that over summer because I haven't looked at all the tape on him, but I remember anytime I would study a defense against the Colts, every single week I would see a 3 technique beat Quentin Nelson in a variety of ways, inside, outside, power, everything like that. I don't know if he was playing hurt or what, but physically he didn't look the same this year, and I don't know why. Brett, who are your favorite head coach candidates for the Panthers? I think Steve Wilkes, honestly, is one of my top guys. If you look at how the Panthers played once Wilkes took over, it was like a totally new football team. So I think I would like him to get a shot. I really would. I think he's earned consideration for it. With the only guys that I would want ahead of him being either Sean Payton or D'Amico Ryans or Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson's going back to Detroit. Sean Payton, it sounds like he wants Denver. And then D'Amico Ryans, who knows where D'Amico's going. So, but in the absence of those three, I'd probably just go Steve Wilkes. And Burrow threw that one away. And I know people are thinking, okay, well, the Steve Wilkes train in the first time in Arizona was a disaster. What part of the last 4 years in Arizona made you think that was more on Wilkes than it was on the rest of the organization? Right? The GM, the owner. I'm starting to think that whoever goes to Arizona, based on the power structure that was in place there, whoever was in Arizona was getting a raw deal. Even Cliff, I actually have a more positive opinion of Cliff than a lot of people because I look at who the other decision makers were, and I'm like, God, could anybody have succeeded there? So I don't hold that Steve Wilkes stint in Arizona against him because everybody would have failed. Everybody would have failed. You could throw Tom Landry there, and he would have failed. Brett and I want D'Amico for the Texans, assuming he's a gambling man. I mean, I would love D'Amico to the Texans. Question is, does D'Amico want the Texans? That part I don't know yet. All right, 3rd and goal here. Buffalo needs this desperately. Hold them to a field goal. And I need them to hold them to a field goal too because I need an Evan McPherson kick for my slip. And touchdown. Oh, fuck. Oh, this Bills defense, man. This Bills defense. It has not been a good performance today. Can't stop the run. Can't stop Jamar Chase. Can't sack Joe Burrow. What can you do? You either die quick or you die slow, and they're dying both ways. I don't know what to do, man. I really don't. It's just they're getting out-talented. At least out-talented in the pass game and out-schemed in the run game because they don't have any nose shades other than Daquan Jones, who's out, who can withstand... Ooh, were his feet not in? I think he was in, right? It kind of looks like it. Because the blue is part of the end zone, right? It's not the boundary. I think he's in. So possession right there. 1, 2. Oh, they're looking at the ball. Okay. I'm looking at the angle behind him. Ooh, I don't know. There's a little bit of a juggle there on the ground. I don't think he survived the ground. Excuse me. Yeah, that might not be a catch. Yeah, I think that one's coming back. Wow. Great job by Milano to kind of disrupt that, right? Hell of a job. Play's not over till it's over. Just that little rake down on the ball from Milano jostled it just enough. Great job by him. If they overturn it, it seems like they will, right? Yep, incomplete. There we go. Matt Milano, man. All pro for a reason. Connor Shields for $2. Thank you, Connor. Keep killing it, Brett. 5 years of watching now. It's been amazing how long we've been able to keep this thing going, right? Like the YouTube game is a tough one to do for a long time, and we've somehow managed to do it for going on 7 years now. It's just eternally grateful for all of you. Thank you very much. All right, Evan McPherson, give me that field goal. We need you, buddy. And drilled it. All right, need one more from him. I need Josh Allen to get, 16 completions in the second half, preferably a lot of them to Stephon Diggs. I need another McPherson fumble or a field goal. And I need Joe Burrow to stop passing and for them to just run the ball with Mixon, and then we're looking good. And then I get my $3,500 and new bathroom floors, because we have to fix the bathroom before we can move out. So that's my goal here. That's my goal. Ben Temple, thank you, Ben, for $5. Just got here. Can you give a summary of your analysis of this game so far during halftime? Absolutely. Let me clear this out for you real quick, without knocking my board over, because that would very much be something I would do. I hope this whiteboard is good for you. I hope it helps you guys. I've always struggled to figure out a way to kind of do live analysis, and I feel like whiteboard's probably the easiest, but I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out for next season. Let's get this. Okay. There. All right. There we go. Thank God that didn't happen in the middle of me doing this diagram. Oh, fucking Spectrum. All right, there we go. Okay, so my first half summary comes down to this. Let me check on the rushing stats real quick, because I need to see exactly how many carries it's been. Probably a lot. Meanwhile, we got McPherson kicking off. So Mixon's got 9 for 55. Piran's got 2 for 11. Yeah, 6.1 a pop. Whew. All right, so my first half summary, at least in terms of how the Bengals have been so successful, is it's called split zone, right? Because you're basically splitting the defensive front in half. So if you got cornerback side, you got the nickel here, free safety, strong safety, because the Bills are typically in too high. So you're working a double team here to wash this nose down. You're trying to create as much movement as possible as we get Allen going to Dawson Knox there over the middle. And then you're going to work up to the will, right? Meanwhile, you got, because the 3 technique is here, you got the center. He is going to feel for this nose depending on the technique. If it's a 2-eye, he probably won't. He'll just release. If it's a shade, he'll give a little jam so that the guard can kind of get on him. And then he'll work up to the mic, right? 3 technique for the guard. He's going here. And so this edge is unblocked, right? And so he's going to do, typically based on the flow of how a zone run is, because the flow is going to go this way, right? So they call it low gear and high gear is what Kirby Smart calls it. So end is going to be low gear, and he's going to kind of just be surfing this side. He's going to be playing high gear and playing it aggressively, trying to get up here to set an edge on the zone run. So split zone takes advantage of that by having the Y go across the back of the line, because they're setting up a cutback lane, right? Because you're working on the nose to generate movement. You climb up to the will, you get the sift block here on the backside end, and then you cut it back. So inside zone, or split zone, I should say, because inside zone is different than split zone. Split zone is basically just designing a cut. Oh, great throw there to Gabe Davis. Split zone is basically just setting up a cutback lane in between the edge and be in front of the will and the nose, right? The problem that the Bills have had is Daquan Jones is not in the game. That nose. And so whoever they've had in there is just getting completely fucking wrecked and blown off the ball. And blown off the ball so quickly that this backside double can get quickly up to the will, and then the edge still has to maintain discipline outside. And so you're just getting easy run lanes over and over again on these split zone carries, and Joe Mixon's eating them alive. 6.1 a pop today. So if you can't stop that, and you're setting Burrow up at 2nd and 4, you're done anyway, right? So Daquan Jones, that injury today has proven to be, in my opinion, the most important part. All right, let's see Allen. Already at the 40-yard line. Almost picked off. Not his fault. Bounced off the receiver's hand. Missing the great play. You're talking about the Gabe Davis catch on the sideline. I would say that I'm numb to Allen and Davis doing crazy shit, but I almost am at this point. They do it every game. Davis is inconsistent, but when he hits, man, it's special. I just wish he'd be more consistent. Because, his splash plays are some of the best in the league. All right, 55 seconds, 3rd and 10. Maybe 2 down territory here. If we're down 10. Oh, God. Josh. Did he feel like he had a defensive penalty so he could take a shot there? No, it was a hold on offense. Okay, so we're even bigger of a hole. 3rd and 20. 4 down territory now kind of off the table. Now we're just trying to get relatively close to field goal range if we can. Not a whole lot of... Oh, no, they declined it. 4th and 10. Okay. From the 45? Is that where we're at? From the 45, yeah. So now we're just trying to pin Burrow so that he can't drive the field in 47 seconds with 2 timeouts. I'll tell you what, though. Because he has 2 timeouts, I'm still not entirely convinced they're not going to go score here. 40 seconds is a long time when you have 2 timeouts. It's a long time. Too much time for a guy like Burrow, in my opinion. Let's catch up on Super Chats here. Gage for 279. Thank you, Gage. Who's your Super Bowl favorite? Eagles for me. It was going to be the Chiefs until Mahomes got hurt. So now I would probably lean Eagles. Because a gimpy Mahomes, when you don't have all of the off-script stuff that he can do. Because remember, their tackles are not very good, at least in pass protection. Like they were 2 of the top 3 guys in terms of pressures allowed this year, right? So having a Mahomes that can't run behind an offensive line that has been, at least at the tackle position, they've been very solid in the interior, but the tackle position's been very leaky. That concerns me a little bit. I still think that they're probably the AFC favorite, but do I think that an immobile, injured Mahomes against the best pass rush in the league is a good matchup? Probably not, right? So I would lean Eagles at this point, unless something health-wise happens to the Eagles. JJ for $5. Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you again, bud. I made a YouTube video on my channel, Sporting Blizzard. Wow, I totally fucked up that. I made a YouTube video on my channel, Sporting Blizzard. did the whole thing wrong in my head. Calling attention to the Cardinals owner over managing the team. A lot of his decisions are trash. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I think that the Cardinals have been one of the most poorly managed organizations in the NFL over the last, I don't know, since Kurt Warner left, right? Or since BA and Kurt Warner were gone. Or I guess it was Carson Palmer and BA. But, God, I'm trying to remember like the last great moment of Cardinals fandom, and it's like Larry Fitzgerald beating the Packers in overtime in the playoffs, and that was almost 10 years ago. So they've been a horribly managed franchise ever since then. So I agree. So get 9 yards on first down. No, 10 yards. They get him the first down on that. Okay. So Samaje getting 10. 33 seconds. Got out of bounds, so you still got 2 timeouts. Maybe see a shot here. Because a shot here allows you to get up the field quickly and spike it. Or if you feel like your guys are out of position, you can't get up quickly, you could still call timeout. But you need a chunk right now if you want to get down to field goal range. You're not going to get there with Samaje catching balls for 5 yards. There's one timeout gone. Need Knox touchdown at a Bengals plus 7.5 to get 1,100. Well, you're on track for that. You just need the Knox touchdown. But you're on track for everything else. Good bet. Good bet. Was the line? I am going to... I'm resisting the urge to yell at some poor customer service representative that has nothing to do with this. It's not their fault. I'm just angry. I'm just angry. That's all. Oh, fuck me. It's ridiculous, dude. I want this to be like an anti-brand deal against Spectrum, right? Like normally I advocate for companies that I love. You know, Underdog obviously being the main one. Anti-Spectrum. Anti-Spectrum. Fuck them. Burrow's running, but that's bleeding clock. Now you got to call timeout. You didn't get out of bounds. Are you trying to spike it now? Oh, no, they don't have a timeout. When did they use the other one? It must have happened when I was disconnected. Well, good job getting the spike down at least with like 9 seconds to go. Jeff for $5 would honestly love a whiteboard series or a whiteboard live stream in the offseason. Also, what do you think Philly does with their picks in this draft? I'm trying to remember what numbers do Philly has, like the 10th pick, I think, and theoretically the 30-something pick. If they are as good as we think they are. We're going for a Hail Mary here. 1 second. No? A little bit of confusion up front. Something going on with the officials. Can't quite tell yet. All right, now we go. This is going to be a long ball for Burrow to hit. Highly doubt it works, but we'll see. And it's up and nothing. Yeah, it's like we thought. As for what I think Philly does in the draft with their picks. So at 10th, you can kind of go any direction because up front in the trenches, they're amazing on both sides. Their secondary is great. Their receivers are great. I still think they could use a third. So if we like Jordan Addison as a slot for them, I wouldn't hate that. Because obviously Devontae and Brown can play outside. But Addison as a slot would be awesome. I don't know what their plans are for Miles Sanders, but maybe they use that 10th pick and trade down and then trade down again and then trade down again and take like Bijan Robinson in the back half of the first, right? Because you get the 5 years of contract control and he's cheap and he's really good, but that's only if we're letting Miles Sanders walk. There's a couple tight ends I really like if we're just thinking for a luxury pick because we want the ability to be elite in 12 personnel. They can kind of go any direction they want to. That's the thing. Is they're already arguably the best roster in the league, and so they could just do BPA. But most likely they'll trade down and just get even more assets because why not, Okay. Because it's halftime, don't go anywhere. I'm going to be back in 30 seconds, but I'm going to go reset my internet so that Spectrum stops ruining my life. Stream is going all afternoon for like 8 hours, so we're not going anywhere, but I'm going to go fix this. All right, be right back. Oh. I think it worked. How are we? How are we? Did I Coleman curse my own internet? Okay. If that didn't work, like a straight up hard reset, then I will be writing a very strongly worded letter to dear old Spectrum. Because Jesus Christ, guys. I mean, come on. It's 2023. How does internet not function in 2023? In a first world country. Come on now. Anyway. Instant disconnect on we're back. Does my underlap slip still work? Okay, that still works. Stream is still working. Chat is working. I think we're fine. I can't promise we'll be fine in 5 minutes, but we're fine for now. Anyway, did I miss any super chats? Let's see. Don for $5. Why is there so much Justin Fields hate after all the amazing plays he made? I think because, when people look at the Bears offense and they see the receiving core he was working with and they see the offensive line he was working with and the failure of the offense, maybe they attribute that a little bit too much to him. And this is the same thing that, Giants fans are arguing about Daniel Jones of like, how could he possibly be successful with that offensive line and that receiving core? And it's funny because I think the Bears, when they were winning, and the Giants, when they were winning, were doing it the exact same way, right? Of strong running game and, trying not to turn the ball over in the pass game. The difference between Fields and Daniel Jones, to me, is that Fields is still a better downfield passer and a more aggressive downfield passer in the sense that if something is open, he's at least willing to take the shot. Unfortunately for him, he was getting killed a lot before he ever got a chance to, and his receivers outside of Mooney are not very good. But at least the aggression and the recognition was still there. But I understand why people are down on Fields, because they see that he was not able to elevate a passing game without talent around him. And some people see that as a sign of him not being the guy, because they're like, well, you're a franchise quarterback, you should be able to elevate. I think there's very few quarterbacks in history that can do that. Like Mahomes, yeah, you can give him a receiving core of 34-year-old Travis Kelce and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster, and he'll have the best year of his career. It's not Justin Fields. Justin Fields is not Patrick Mahomes, nor do I think he ever will be. But like, I think some people sometimes have that expectation of like, well, if you're really the guy, you should be able to take garbage around you and be great. And no, he couldn't, and neither could Daniel Jones. I just think that Justin Fields is a better version of Daniel Jones, in my opinion. And even then, Daniel Jones had better talent around him than Justin Fields had in Chicago. Like, not that the talent in New York is good, but it's fucking better in Chicago. What are your honest thoughts about Dak? Streaky. His hot streaks are incredible, and his low streaks are nauseating. And I think that what's frustrating me about Dak is we see what he can be, right? Like the game against Tampa, he was fucking perfect. He was amazing against Tampa, like throwing dimes, making great reads, great in the pocket. And then one game before that was the Commanders game, where it was maybe the worst game of his career. So, like, I think that what frustrates me about Dak is we see what he is capable of. We just don't get that every game. And I think that Dak this year was what people think Kirk Cousins was this year. And I think that Kirk was more consistent than Dak. I think Dak's highs were higher, but Kirk was, oddly enough, the more consistent of the two. And I think that some people perceive them the exact opposite when it's really not. Daniel Jones collateral damage. It's more so I think that the situations in New York and Chicago are similar, right? It's just I think that Fields is better at it than Daniel Jones is. Not that Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback. I don't think Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback. And even in the Giants episode I just did, I didn't say he was a bad quarterback. I said he acquitted himself better than several other starters would. I do not think that Daniel Jones is bad. I just don't think he's great. And in a league where we're looking at who's in the divisional round right now, it's great quarterbacks. You kind of need your own great quarterback to hold up and to fight back against that. So I don't know. It's just one of those. It's like if he's not, if you don't see the capability of somebody to be a top 10 to top 12 quarterback, should you pay them $40 million a year or $35 million a year? To me, the answer is no. And Giants fans are arguing that DJ was a top 12 quarterback this year. No, he fucking wasn't. Like top 16, like upper half, sure. Top 12? No, come on now. Like off the top of my head, Mahomes, Burrow, obviously Josh Allen. When Tua was healthy, he was better than DJ was, in my opinion. Obviously had a better supporting cast, but still he was better. Healthy Lamar is better. Justin Herbert, can't believe it took so long to get to him. Kirk. Who else is there? Jared Goff was great this year. He was better than DJ. Trevor Lawrence. Dak. Fuck. Is it weird to say Brock Purdy? Is it weird to say Brock? I get it. Totally different structures and everything like that. But like Purdy was legitimately good. Oh, Hurts. That's another one. Like, again, we're already at 12. Even if we take out Purdy. Let's just take out Purdy so that we don't trigger Giants fans, right? And let's go with... Geno Smith. There we go. We're at 12. So Daniel Jones was not a top 12. Like, completely ignore the Purdy thing. Daniel Jones was not top 12 this year. So we're going to pay him $35 million? I don't see it, folks. I don't see it. Again, I don't think Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback. You can sell me on top 16, but every single divisional round game in the NFL is a kaiju fight. Look at the AFC. It's Trevor Lawrence. It's Joe Burrow. It's Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes. The NFC, you got to go through Dak Prescott. You got to go through, when the Packers were good, you'd have to go through Aaron Rodgers. It's a quarterback league. It's a quarterback league. And if you don't have one of the top 12, sorry. Try again. Aaron and Brady probably weren't 12. Yeah, I didn't put them in my top 12. But that's the thing is we got to 12 without Aaron and Brady. That's my point. And most of those top 12 are in the AFC. So if we're saying like, oh, Daniel Jones was one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFC, fine. But if we're looking league wide, totally different equation. Totally different. Because there's a lot more quarterbacks in the AFC than there are in the NFC. And guess what? If to win a Super Bowl, you got to play the AFC. So whichever one of those quarterbacks emerges from the AFC playoffs covered in blood, surviving the greatest brawl that we've seen in the last 15 years for that entire fucking conference, it's a slaughterhouse, everybody for themselves, and they're getting out of that. And then they look across the field and they see Daniel Jones. Oh, my God. They're looking at their next meal. It's a different power level, folks, okay? So they can make the playoffs. They did make the playoffs. Can they get any further than the divisional round? I don't think so. Unless they make some changes and go get themselves a superhero. That's it. All right. Second half kicked off. Let's get the score bug up here. Nice little weak side inside zone, which is fun. It's interesting they ran that. It's kind of like a same side inside zone that hits the backside A gap, but they run it to the side of the tight end. You'd see LSU do that a lot. Ironically, when Joe Burrow was the quarterback, it's just a different aiming point. All right, 2x2 here, 2nd and 6. Probably cover 2 from the Bengals. Yes, it is. Which, if we're running off the hook players, that's going to open up that backside slant all day. So, easy way to get first down for them. The Bengals run a lot of cover 2. I forgot to mention that at the top of the game. They run a lot of cover 2 on 2nd down. So, you could see kind of Allen recognize that pre-snap and get him into that concept to get a free first down. Good job by him. Here's cover 3. Are they bringing 5? Yes, they are. And they ran straight into it and still got 5 yards. And that's a tough run to hit too, because when the nickel is coming off the edge so fast, that kick out front side sometimes gets blunted a little bit earlier than the running back is used to. So it kind of changes their path a little bit. But still got 5 out of it. Ooh, real nasty bunch here. Another first down. There goes Singletary. Did I take Singletary? No, I didn't. Singletari's over-under was like 35 yards rushing, and he is at, 16? Something like that. Some of you probably took him. Got a timeout here, I think. Brian for $5. What do you think of Ben Johnson choosing to stay as the Lions OC, and what should they do with the 2 first-round picks? I think Ben recognizes that, well, choose my words carefully here. I think the jobs that were available to him as a first-time head coaching candidate were not the jobs that he wanted, right? Because if you're going to the Colts, it's a tear down and rebuild. If you're looking at the Panthers, you don't have a quarterback. If you're looking at who else got fired, the Broncos, you don't know what Russ is at this point. So I just think a lot of the jobs that were available were not attracted to him, and he'd rather be in a, oh, Josh, what a play. How did he get out of that? Great throw in the run to Shakir, too. Hell of a play by him. Watch this. Just give a little baby stiff arm. Throw a dot on the move. Fuck. See, that's the kind of quarterback you got to play against in the playoffs, man. So you got to get one of your own. Here we go. Quarters here on 1st and 10. Against trips to the field. And Josh didn't like whatever he saw downfield. God, I wish we had all 22 live. What was the question? So why did Ben Johnson stay? I just don't think he liked a lot of the situations that were open, and so he'd rather run it back with a stable organization that has a whole bunch of talent like Detroit, potentially raise his stock even higher. And there is the looming thought of maybe the Chargers' job is open next offseason. Not guaranteeing it will be. Some people thought it was going to be open this offseason. And I think that if the Chargers' job is open, that immediately becomes the most attractive one, right? Because of Justin Herbert. So I don't necessarily think Ben Johnson is losing anything by keeping his name in Detroit. Oh, great run by Josh. By keeping his name in Detroit right now. Because I think that they're going to be a good team next year. His stock will still be high. He'll still get to choose his opportunities. And the opportunities that will be available to him might be more attractive than the ones this year. Because Arizona, Indy, and potentially Denver, not really attractive, right? So wait for something a little bit better. I think he made the right choice. Ooh, okay. Woosah, Brett. Woosah. This is ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. I'm getting my money back for this month. This is stupid. This is utterly stupid. Anyway. 2nd and 10 for the Bills. Oh, man. Stephon took out some staff member on the sideline. A camera person. Poor camera person. Rough. Is he hurt? Did he hit his hand on the wall? See, that snow is slick. It'll make you slide even further and even faster. So he might have hit his hand on the wall. That's rough. Ian for $5. Now that our season is over, what are your thoughts on Kenny Pickett? Hearing too many people say he has zero hope of progression and he was bad all year. He was not bad all year. I'm actually optimistic about Kenny Pickett. Do I think he was great? No. Do I think he was bad? No. I think he was fine. Again, he's a rookie in a Matt Canada offense that I think is extraordinarily flawed. But they retained him because they didn't want to have to make him learn another playbook for the 3rd straight year, going from his OC at Pitt to Canada to a new guy. They want him to at least have some stability. I get that. But, all things considered, no, I think he was fine. He was good in the 4th quarter. Displayed some really nice poise, decision-making, accuracy, all that kind of stuff. Mobility, obviously. I do wish that he was a little bit more aggressive deep down the field. Similar kind of story to Daniel Jones. But as a rookie, I am willing to excuse it and see what year 2 brings. But I would like him to be be more aggressive, especially when your receivers are George Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Pat Freiermuth, all three guys that can get vertical on you. I would like to see him stretch the field a little bit, right? But I think he was fine. Jared for $5. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Carson Steele, Ball State sophomore running back, just transferred to UCLA, and he's going to tear it up? I have not heard of Carson Steele, but hopefully I can go to UCLA practice this summer and check him out. But, I mean, UCLA has been really good in the transfer portal for the last few years, picking up a lot of talent. That's how they got Zach Charbonnet from Michigan, and he was fantastic for them. So, yeah, I look forward to watching him. Shawshank Inception for $4.99. Top 2 tackling safeties this season were Jalen Petrie and Jonathan Owens. Does that indicate anything? By tackling, you mean tackle numbers, or are we talking about tackling efficiency? Because Jalen Petrie did have a lot of missed tackles too, so the efficiency wise maybe not there. But tackling numbers, yeah, because the Texans' interior defensive line and linebackers got absolutely shredded in the run game. So somebody's got to make the tackles, and it's going to be the safeties. But tackling efficiency-wise, no, they were not the best. But I do have high hopes for Petrie. I think he's going to be a good player, but he has to clean up the missed tackles. That was a point of contention with him. Ooh, nice pressure. Josh still got out of it and got the first down anyway, though. But that was a really, really well-disguised blitz. I think they brought the backside safety and the nickel. Is that what they did? So there was Dax Hill and they brought the nickel. Yeah, they brought 6. That's nasty. I like that. Nice little man pressure at the top of the red zone. Love to see it. Another nasty bunch to the boundary. Got some FIB action here for a loss. FIB stands for formation into boundary, by the way. A little bit more effective in college than it is in the pros, in my opinion, because the hashes are wider. So if you're doing FIB and you're putting 3 guys to the boundary in a very constricted space, that means that if you put your best receiver outside the other way, because the hashes are so much wider, you just get infinite space. So if you think you have that matchup out there, like, as long as your guy can make the far hash throw, you're going to win. And the pros is a little bit different because the hashes are more narrow. All right, Bills desperately need this score. Desperately. And I'm not talking about field goal. They need a touchdown. Because as of right now, they have not been able to stop Cincy at all. So we at least need to make this a 3-point game and try to go blow for blow. Because if we can just get a turnover or something like that, steal a possession, because you know you're not going to stop them, just steal a possession, then you're in business. But have to score here. Especially because you're already halfway through the third quarter. It's been a long drive. Slightly high for Dawson Knox. Are you rooting for the Bills over the Bengals? I'm just rooting for a good game, you know? Because I think both these teams are really good. I like both these teams a lot. A lot of fans for both these teams follow the channel. I'm just rooting for a good game, to be honest. Which, if they score here, I think we're in for one. And here's the field goal. So that'll make it a 7-point game, right? 17-10. That makes me nervous. Because now, I'm just going off the first half here. Now, if Cincy marches right down the field, takes a whole bunch of time off the clock, we're going into the fourth quarter. 14-point differential. I just feel like that drive took too long to only get 3, right? Because you're working against the clock and against Cincy right now. Like, if you're going to get 3, I'd rather get a quick 3 or a long 7. So that's an unfortunate result for Buffalo, but at least they got points. JJ for $10. I'm curious to see what you think on this. Watching the Steelers this year, I thought Moore improved, but Dotson didn't. I think Pittsburgh should target Torrance, the guard out of Florida, come April. I have not done an in-depth dive into the Steelers' offensive line yet, and I have not watched Torrance yet either. I hope to do that sometime in the coming week because I think he's going to Senior Bowl, right? I'm pretty sure he's going to Senior Bowl. So I got to watch him before we do our Senior Bowl practice recaps anyway when we're in Vegas for Shrine Bowl. So he's on my list at some point in the next 10 days. I got to get to him. But JJ, if you get back to me over summer after I watch this offensive line, I'll be able to give you a truthful answer. Because if I tried to tell you what I thought about Moore and Dotson right now, I'd be lying to you because I haven't watched them enough to form an opinion. I can only speak to the Steelers' pass protection as a whole, which I felt was average at best. Whenever I watch Pickett, who was somebody I paid attention to, it feels like he was running for his life in obvious passing downs, and they kind of relied a lot on play action and RPOs to give him space. But if it was 3rd and 7 and teams knew they were passing, he was kind of running for his life a little bit. I just don't know which offensive lineman was more at fault for that. Neiman for $5. Which DC do you think the Vikings should go for since Ed is finally gone? Defense obviously need to be revamped and rebuilt, but I do like Flores. Flores, I think, makes a lot of sense. I said that at the top of the show. He would allow the receivers to play, or allow the DBs to play more man coverage and tighter man coverage at that. He would allow them to play press and not give free releases constantly in quarters and cover 6 and cover 8. Not so much reliance on soft zone coverage. And I think that, for the DB profile that Minnesota has, they have a whole bunch of big dudes. I would love to see them play more press man, and Flores would let them do that. All right, kickoff coming here. Oh, he booted that one too. What a leg. All right, very curious to see how Cincy responds. Because if they can mount a long, run-oriented drive here and then cap it off with a score, go into the fourth quarter up 14. I'm not saying that's all she wrote because it is Josh Allen, but the math ain't mathing on that one. But we'll see. Bills need to stop. But you see the movement generated backside on 99, right? On settle. Even on plays where he's not involved in it, you can see he's not doing a good job of fighting through contact and maintaining himself down the line of scrimmage, right? He's still losing yards on the backside. The run didn't cut back to him, but they are really struggling. For all their guys that are at 2-eye and at shade, they're really struggling tonight. And there goes Burrow. Give me the free 15. Not liking the look of this, folks. Don for $5. What can the Bears realistically get by trading the number 1 pick? The number 4 plus probably at least another 1 and at least 2 more 2s. And whether or not they get anything on top of that depends on who else is also trying to get that pick, which is probably going to be a lot of people. But I think it starts at 2 1s and 2 2s, and then you add on extras as the bidding war progresses. How'd Jamar get 10 yards out of that? He was squared up in the backfield. 4 yards in the backfield, squared up by a DB, and he still gets a first down. Come on. Make a tackle. Make a tackle. Jesus. This has been some of the worst defense I've seen the Bills play all year. Really. And there's T. Higgins sighting against Trey White. And you know what's amazing is, like, we talked about it before the game, how taking away the verticals outside from Jamar and T was like enemy number one, right? And the Bengals offense has succeeded despite not hitting on any of those. Like, they haven't even tried it today. Hitting Burrow is down. Did he get rolled up on? Yeah, his ankle. It kind of looked like an awkward tackle. That was not a good ankle. So there's a 90 coming down. Yeah. He just slid into him. Not on purpose. He got pushed into him. But yeah, this is painful. Didn't look as bad as Mahomes' though. Mahomes' looked fucking brutal. Oh, you got to hold on to the ball. What was I saying before? Right. So they haven't even tried to throw those verticals down the sideline. Bills have done a good job of taking that away. It's just that the Bengals have gotten anything they've wanted, doing literally everything else, you know? So, like, it's been a rough showing all the way around. And you got to be able to stop the run, and you can't do that if your nose tackle's getting killed. So, helmet to ankle bone, yeah, that'll be a fun little bruise tomorrow. Anime Holic Tops for €2. Thank you very much. Will the Bills be desperate in the offseason if they lose? Not necessarily. Because remember, they're pretty beat up themselves. Like, in the secondary, they're really beat up. There's no Von Miller. There's no Daquan Jones. Like, when I say this is the worst performance I've seen from the Bills defense this year, I also have to acknowledge this is not the starting Bills defense that I saw live multiple times this year in the first half of the season. This is not that defense. And it's unfortunate for them, but like, the Bengals are also playing with 40% of their starting offensive line, so there's injuries on that side too. But the Bengals backups are just beating the shit out of the Bills backups right now. Another Hayden Hurst catch. Let's go. But you see how they do such a good job of just kind of running those underneath defenders off the line of scrimmage or off the first down marker, and just completely opening those flats for late developing little checkdowns for Hurst. Like, there's just no answer right now. There's no answer. Can't play zone. Can't play man. Can't stop the run. Here's another 7-8 yards from Mixon. Like, you got nothing. You got nothing. There is no answer right now. Like, 17 points is a blessing. It's an There we go. All right, we're back. That one was quicker. Right? Just a little hiccup. We're coming back. But I would like to know why they're just switching off my internet every 15 minutes, right? That would be a wonderful thing to know. And it lasts for 5 seconds. And it didn't happen yesterday. I got no idea what's going on. Could you call Spectrum in between games? Probably not, because I'm just going to get thrown into a robot loop, right? You know how long it takes to talk to an actual person? So they called a sneak from like 3 yards out, and now, did they not know Did they not know what the yardage was? Is that why they called that? Not that it matters now. They still got like 15 from Mixon, but like, did they not know what the yardage was? Maybe it's your VPN. No, because it's like literally like I'm looking at it. My straight up my internet is out. But in between games, I'll turn off my VPN and see what happens. But like I look at it and it says OBS disconnected. I'm like, what the fuck? His face when the stream froze was priceless. Oh man, how many people we got in here right now? 800. It's pretty good. I'll take that. 800 with the stream going out every 15 minutes. I will take that. Did they call something on the Bills there? Did they call a hold? Yeah, it looks like they did. All right. It's probably going to be a run, right? You're not motion and chase in there unless it's a run. There it is. Oh, second effort. Almost. All right. Now I want pace. Like you're 6 inches off. Like just line up and sneak it. No, we're huddling. Are we going to huddle it and then sneak it? Can't even stop the run when they stop the run. That's true. Oh, man. Brett, do you know how the other big four sports do in terms of X's and O's? Like, are you talking about content on YouTube? Oh, 1 second. Timeout here. I'm not super familiar with a whole bunch of X's and O's content for like basketball, but I know like Lakers Film Room was a channel I used to watch back in the day. John for baseball. Hockey, I'm not familiar with any. Oh, Bills only had 10 on the. No, they had 12 on the field. And he got him to jump. What a disaster. B-ball breakdown, that's right. Thinking basketball. Do they have any relation to thinking football? Probably, right? Can't be holding Trent Irwin. Soccer. There is one guy that I saw, and he has like a table with like a marker, and he draws. There's like a top down camera, and it's awesome. Like I want that set up for football. I don't know what the name of his channel is, but it's so cool. And touchdown. There it is. So remember when I said worst case scenario was the Bengals mount a long run heavy drive that ends up in a touchdown and you're going into the fourth quarter down by 14? They call that short? Was he short? It didn't look like it on the first angle. I'm not sure he was short, chat. That looked in, like when I first saw it. I was stunned they called that. There's no way, right? We'll see. We'll see what they say. But based on the replay, like I don't see there's any way that that's not a TD. But again, my point was, if we're looking at 14-point deficit going into the fourth quarter, when you have just been a pushover on defense the entire day, I don't see the ability for Buffalo to overcome that unless their defense suddenly stops being soft as tissue paper. He ended up not in the end zone, but I couldn't see if he crossed the plane. That's what I'm saying. I just think on the initial surge, right, when he first surged in, it looked like he got there and then he got pushed out. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know about you guys, but maybe you can't overturn it because you can't see the ball, I guess, but I would just be kind of looking at, because I was kind of basing it on where his body was, right, and how you just normally hold a football. Like it looked like his body was even across the plane. But when we get back from commercial, we'll see. We'll see what they say. I'm just surprised they initially ruled it short. Because, like, in that kind of situation where it's even arguable, you give them the TD so that it's automatically reviewed so that you don't have to throw a challenge flag. Like, that's, to me, how the process should be. Is like, if it's one way or the other and you're not sure, call it touchdown so there's an auto review. But I don't know. Running so many ads. I mean, it's CBS in the playoffs, man. Have you ever seen a CBS college game between two marquee teams? Oh, it's Ad City. Oh, you got pizza? You know, the camera can see you right now. Just so you're aware. Like, literally, you're on camera right now. They're all staring at you.
Here's your pizza.
That was the... Well, I can't reach it.
Oh, my gosh. Here you go. Hi, everybody. Bye, everybody. She said if I crawl on the floor...
That was the most awkward possible way to deliver pizza. Oh. My friends, everybody. Jesus Christ. It's good pizza, though. It's round table. I'll accept it. All right. Touchdown it is. It looked obvious to me, right? That's touchdown. Are they going for two? Oh, no, it's just a replay. I was like, no, it's already 24. All right. 1:17 left in the third. Oh, it's a great shot of the stadium, though, with the lights. Fuck, that's a great shot. 1:17 left in the third. 14 points down. Can't get a stop on defense. Only way back. Quick score from Buffalo, turnover, then you're in business. But absent that, like you can't do another 7-yard drive for 3 points, right? Or 7-minute drive for 3 points. Can't do it. Like that was honestly where I thought they were in most troubles. Is like I get it, 4th and 10, you're not feeling super confident, but that much time off the clock in their last possession exchanged for only a field goal when you were, down by 2 possessions. If you're going to go out swinging, in my opinion. Still good pizzas, though. Oh, that was not my wife, by the way. That was my wife's friend, CJ. And she is definitely not as stealthy as my wife is. All right, let's see what Josh Allen has for us here. So we're dialing up a deep 7 to Stephon Diggs. Looked like Allen wanted him to flatten it a little bit. Almost hit it, though. Brett and his wife set that poor woman up. That's funny. Looks like cover 2 again here. Oh, and he got out of it. All right, so 3rd and 3 again. We're looking at strong man coverage leanings here, over 50% man coverage. So if you're going to take a shot to Stephon Diggs, it's probably now because we're thinking it's going to be man. That was not attractive. There it is. Oh, he broke it up. Is that Eli Apple? Is that Eli Apple? He got his hand. No, it's Taylor Britt. He got his hand in late. Look at that. Chop through the ball. Just because you're out of phase doesn't mean you're dead. Great job by Cam Taylor Britt there. Well, this game's probably over, right? It's pretty close to it. I mean, I get why they're punting, but at the same time, like, this game's probably over because they punted. Was that Eli Apple? Bro, it's never Eli Apple. That's funny. That's fucking funny. Chat, do you qualify that as a surrender punt? I'm curious. I could see both sides of the argument. Is Eli Apple overhated or is it about right? I think he's overhated based on, you know, how he was earlier in his career. I think he's a lot better now than he was before. Do I still think he's like a great corner? No. But I do think people kind of pile on a little bit too much. He's fine. And there's Mixon again. Just getting every yard he wants. Rough. How much to get her to do analysis? Oh, fuck. That's funny. Josh for $5. At what point did the Bills run single high to stop the run, even if it means opening themselves up to deep balls? Got to risk it eventually, right? I mean, yes, you're correct. The thing is, what kind of single high? Because if you're running cover 3, I don't think that's a horrible idea, even though it does probably open you up a little bit to a lot of the flood stuff that Cincy likes to do. But if you're running cover 1, you can't do it because your corners are going to lose outside against Jamar, right? So if you're asking them to sit there and play cover 3 all day, eventually that probably won't go your way, but it also might be the only way you could stop the run. So it's kind of a you're damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I would, at this point, take the risk and play cover 3 and then dare Joe to make the throw. You know, in terms of that mid-level 7 that we broke down before the game, I would dare Joe to make that a whole bunch of times rather than have Joe Mixon just end the ball game right now. But you can't stick with this the quarters and too high anymore because my worst fear has come true, which is if you remember before the game, I said if we're seeing a lot of the cover 2, they're going to have to use Mixon to run them out of it. It's been that, but in overdrive. Not only have they run them out of it, but they've proven that they can run them out. And we're back. At least only like 5-second pauses now, right? You just got a Spectrum ad. Of course I did. Officially an old man today. 30 sneaks on you fast. Happy birthday. Happy 30th birthday. Welcome to the club of our slow demise. I salute you, sir. It was like 30 seconds? Oh, it was like 5 on my end. So it must have cut out before it cut out. There's Mixon again. Can anybody tackle? My God. Is it legal for them to tackle? Who else is having a drinking game to the Windows sound? That's funny. Do you agree with what EJ just tweeted about Leslie Frazier? I didn't see what he said. Looks like the Bills are in cover 3 now. Not that does a lot of good on 2nd and 1. Audio? What is there a problem with the audio? What's wrong? I mean, I'm registering on my end that audio's going through. Audio is fine here. Okay. EJ said the Bills should consider moving on from Leslie Frazier. I mean, I understand EJ's aversion to Leslie Frazier because he's a Bears fan, right? But and I also think that Leslie Frazier is not like a perfect defensive play caller. But at the same time, I also acknowledge the Bills' defense has had a lot of injuries. And I think that's part of it. You know, this game is probably a lot different with Daquan in the game. It's probably different with Von Miller in the game. I can see you moving, but have no audio. It's cutting in and out. So some people are having issues and some are not. Fixed it by refreshing the stream. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube streaming still a little bit weird. Oh, Burrow going for it. Oof. Poyer and I think that was Trey White both got the worst of that one. Oh, man, that was rough. They're both down. Oh, man. And they called PI on who? Oh, on Trey. Oh, helmet to helmet. Poyer and Trey on each other. Ooh. That did not look good. That did not look good at all. Hope they're okay. Bills are about to be down every starting secondary member except Dane Jackson. And that's my point. 80% of your secondary is out. Some of your backups are out. Your best interior run defender's out. Your best pass rusher's out. So I understand the aversion to Leslie Frazier, but I'm not saying that he's like amazing. But what I am saying is that when literally over half of your defense is injured, I kind of expect there to be a drop in performance. I wish they weren't getting absolutely destroyed today, because this is a little egregious, but I also kind of understand why it's happening, right? They're just getting out talented. How does Diggs not have 35? Well, he only has 30. Yeah, I mean, he only has 35 yards. Unfortunately, because we don't get live all 22, I'm not 100% sure what's been going on in the back end coverage-wise. But if it's anything like a normal Cincy game, it's a lot of cover 2. Sprinkled some 2-man in there. Probably some 1 double on him, and they're doing whatever they can to not leave people alone against him, right? Is this what happens when a team who can't run the ball plays in the snow? I mean, they couldn't run the ball before, and they played well in the snow against Miami. Yeah, that was even more snow. I just think the Bengals are better, or at least more talented with the remaining players that are on the field. Now, I will say this, for any Bengals fan that are watching, I understand they still might be upset that this game was not neutral site. Clearly, it didn't matter that much. So, I think we can just move on at this point. Because the Chiefs beat the Raiders, so you weren't going to be the first seed anyway. And it looks like you're probably going to beat Buffalo. So in the end, you're still just going to Kansas City for the championship, right? So I'd say the result was the result, and nothing ended up mattering in the end. Hate that play call there, having Burrow take an unnecessary hit. I would agree. I mean, he already took a helmet to the ankle today, so you don't want to expose him anymore, especially when Mixon and P. Ryan have gotten everything they wanted. I would agree with that. Maher under 3 extra point misses. All right, let's see what we got here. And, off Hurst's hands. Got to bring that in. Teron Johnson slipped on the snow there. It is hard to play defense in the snow. I'll give him that. The slip could hit. If they don't score here and I get a McPherson field goal, maybe. So this will be my field goal. And then I need Allen to get 8 completions and Diggs to get 50 yards. And then I might hit. You're right. It's still possible. Not amazingly likely, but still possible. Brett, can you eat the pizza closer to the mic? I will not. I will not put you through that. 20-yard attempt. All right. Don't fail me now. Remember, if I hit 4, because I did the insurance on the slip, if I hit 4, I still get 2.5x, which on a $350 slip, because I was very confident in this, so I've been spending some of my winnings this year on this one. I did a $350 slip, so 2.5x is 875, right? So I'll win 875 if I just hit 4. So as long as Burrow doesn't pass for another 40 yards and Allen gets like 8 completions, even if Diggs doesn't hit, I'm still making almost $900. So it's a good start to the day. And then we have our other slip for the second game. Just want to say how much I'm enjoying the stream. I appreciate that. I hope I've been entertaining, even with the little pauses from Spectrum here. Doing our best, folks. Doing our best. How does the Chiefs defense match up against the Bengals offense? They run a lot of man coverage and they run a lot of cover 2. They run the least amount of cover 3 in the entire league by far. It's like 16%, something like that. So if the Bengals want to try to run a lot again, they're going to get favorable looks, because if they drop down to safety to stop the run, it's going to be man coverage, and the Chiefs do not want that. You know, with rookie corners outside against Jamar and T, they don't want that. So if you're going to be running, it's going to be against quarters looks, and I think that there's some favorable stuff, like with the split zone we talked about, you can do. So I would anticipate, just on paper, another favorable day for Joe Mixon. I will say the Chiefs' interior defensive line is better than the Bills' interior defensive line when Daquan's not in. So it'll be harder, but schematically speaking, that is a decent matchup for Cincy. And then if the Chiefs are also in quarters and they're daring to give one-on-ones deep down the field to Jamar and T, that's something you can take advantage of as well. But I would anticipate a lot of cover 2, and then them just trying to see if they can stop the run from cover 2. If they can stop the run from cover 2, the Chiefs are going to win. If they can't, just like this game, they will get rolled over. Chiefs will probably scheme against zone and split zone. Their linebackers are going to have to be on their P's and Q's. You know, that's the big thing, is whoever's taking on the double, which I think it would be Bolton, or taking on the guy who climbs up from the double, which I think will be Bolton. They got to be able to win, right? And get into that hole and get there with pace and quickness so that the double can't develop and get up to the second level. Like, you got to trigger downhill and trigger downhill quick. And there's Trey White going to the locker room as well. Maher shaky in warm-ups. What do you think the odds are that they, if it's like 4th and 5 from the 30-yard line, what do you think the odds are they just go for it tonight? Cowboys, I mean. I think the odds are pretty good that they just go for it. Brett, what is cover 8? Cover 8 is the opposite of cover 6, basically, right? So the passing strength, which in here, the Y, the zebra, and the Z are the passing strength because there's more receivers on that side. That's the side you play the half-field safety to. And then the quarter side is going to be the other side where the X receiver is on that diagram. So cover 8 is just the opposite of cover 6. Big ball to Knox down the seam. There's my first of 8 completions. Needs 7 more. Is there a cover 7? Yes, there is. If you're familiar with Nick Saban terminology, cover 7 is basically just like what he calls match quarters. Back, right? There we are. There we are. That one was a little hiccup. I swear to God, I'm just gonna bombard Spectrum with complaints. I'm gonna be one of those people that weaponizes chat against them selfishly because this is ridiculous. Most stable Spectrum connection. Oh God, Josh got crushed. Oh my God. That looked like it really hurt. Was that Hilton? Yeah, it was. Eee, God. Hit him right in the elbow. That's the same way he got hurt earlier in the season with his elbow injury. The exact same way he got hurt. I'd be concerned about his arm, to be honest. That was brutal. Can't imagine that felt good. Let's do a drinking game. Each time Spectrum goes out, we take a shot. Well, do you want to die? Because that's what that'll get you. Did they call that a fumble, chat? I didn't actually hear if they called that a fumble. It was a fumble. Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but good to know. Every time Brett drops into a push-up, so you're just fucking shreddy spaghetti right now, huh? Getting that good pump in during the whole stream. Going to think about that until August. Romo says, I don't know. Oh, man. I will say, the Bills are still a great team, but just the injuries were not. It was just insurmountable, man. There's only so many good players you can lose before it starts to show up against an elite team. If it's Brady, it wouldn't be a fumble. Does cover 6 have the same vulnerability to trips that you laid out in your Jacksonville video? No, not necessarily. It has a different vulnerability in that if you're playing quarters here, hold on, do I have a, where's my fucking marker? All right. So let's just pretend ignore the run shit, right? So quarters depending on the type of quarters. There's a whole bunch of different types of quarters. So let's just say he's Meg, so he's man everywhere he goes. And then he's going to be carrying 2 vertical unless 3 is out. So if 3 is here, he pushes, and then the safety carries 2 vertical. So 1 and 2 are accounted for vertical. And if 3 is out, then you don't have that conflict on the safety or on the linebacker anyway, right? But if you get 3 vertical all the way, then this nickel has nothing to push to because there's nobody threatening to the flat. So then the nickel carries number 2. This is called stubby, by the way. And then the safety carries number 3. And then this backside safety is over the top of this X who has a cloud corner there. So you're basically that's why most coaches prefer to play cover 6 to cover 8, because quarters is more sound against verticals from the passing strength. And if their best receiver is backside, you're getting a cloud corner on them too, right? That's why cover 6 is by far more popular with defensive coaches. It's just the one difference is if you have a lot of speed against a nickel running vertical with no help, you can get got. Or if this matchup with the Z in the corner is not a good matchup, you can get got because if this quarterback can just throw a nice fade ball outside. So that's why I was saying I didn't think they were going to play cover 6 either, because now you're looking at, I don't know, insert Dane Jackson versus T. Higgins matchup here, which you're still not feeling like amazing about vertically. Or if this is T and this is Jamar Chase, you're definitely not feeling amazing about it. Or if this is Jamar Chase and this is T, you're definitely not feeling good about Teron Johnson against Chase, right? So it's still one-on-ones vertical, which you don't want to do against the Bengals. So, like, in terms of Jacksonville versus Chargers, yeah, I would have done cover 6 against Jacksonville because I'm not as scared of them as I am against the Bengals receivers. But they didn't trust their young corner out there, Jasir Taylor, to do this, which is cover 1-on-1 outside. So they called cover 8, and then they got beat. Ball batted down. So they determined it was not a fumble then, chat? Is that what we're talking about? I guess they called his hand was moving forward, huh? $37 dropbacks, 18 hurries. Good Lord. Not a good day in pass protection for Buffalo. So what completion? So we're sitting at 19 completions. I need 4 from Allen and 50 yards from Diggs. And we're in decent shape. And I need Joe Burrow to not throw another pass. Well, there's another completion. Give me 3 more. Give me 3 more. See, this is why I don't like doing unders, man. Because I feel like I'm hoping for less action, right? It doesn't feel as nice as hoping for overs. So 4th and 6 here. If they don't get it here, this game's way over. I mean, it's already kind of over, but it's way over if they don't get this here. And scrambling, trying to find something. Nothing there. That's ball game, folks. We still might get our slip, but that is ball game. Remember, we are keeping this stream going through the Cowboys 49ers game. So this is only game 1 of a 2-game stream. We're doing back-to-back today. So don't touch that dial, which, I mean, nobody's had a dial on a TV in like 30 years, but you know what I mean. It was Eli Apple. Nobody expects the Eli Apple Inquisition. R.I.P. and pepperonis. I wish I checked when the pizza delivery happened. I'd love to clip that off. I gotta go back and find that. Because I want to show her that this is a wide angle lens. It's like, this is the only place you can be seen. Oh, man. As a Hawks fan, I'm so happy to see Flowers succeed with Cincy. Yeah, he's a good dude. I'm happy he's doing well. Maybe he'll get a ring, too. That'd be great. The dial is just scrolling anymore. Yeah. Will there be a VOD of the stream? Yeah, on YouTube, the VODs save automatically, if I recall correctly. Like, I don't even have to do anything. It just saves and it lives on the channel. So if you're going and you just want to watch the Cowboys Niners reaction later, it'll be up later. Sheesh, how do you not have to get up and pee? Man, I did red zone for 3 years. I have been well trained on how to not take a bathroom break. And I'm still not even the king. I mean, Scott Hansen's the key. Or is the king, not the key. He's indestructible, man. Like, I was there for 3 years, never went to the bathroom once during a show. Ever. Like, I don't know how he did it, but, like, I think I did it twice. He did it none. Jerry Jones walked onto the field to talk to Maher after Maher missed some kicks. Oh, that's a good sign. Things are going great. Yes. More rushing attempts. No more throws. "28 first downs." Yep. That's what a good run game will do to you. Anybody else bet the Bengals today? Well, apparently the line was like Buffalo's 7.5 before the game, which I would have been all over Cincy for that. Like, I thought Buffalo was going to win. I didn't think it was going to be 7.5. Like, that's a fucking stupid line. So the fact that it got that high was dumb. And I would have been all over Bengals on that. I would not have taken Bengals money line, but 7.5. Come on now. It was 5.5. I mean, I saw 5.5 2 days ago. Somebody in chat earlier said it was up to 7.5. Yeah, there's P. Ryan again. Fighting, smashing, clawing, scratching. Gets the first down anyway. Whew. The softness from Buffalo's front seven this year has been notable. Unfortunately, they're getting red zone when it moves to YouTube TV. They're getting rid of the DirecTV red zone. The NFL Network red zone with Scott Hansen is different, but I'm not sure what's happening with that one. But because I think that one's still continuing, but because the DirecTV red zone was with Sunday Ticket, that one I think is not going on anymore because DirecTV lost the rights, right? But Scott should still be on. It's the other one with Andrew Siciliano. Siciliano's a great dude, by the way. Love Andrew. I feel sorry that he doesn't get to do it anymore, but I mean, my hope for him is that YouTube TV will do their own red zone and then just hire Andrew to do it, right? Because he already knows how to do it. So that would be great, is if they just do their own and then have Andrew do it. But I don't know if that's an option. Alex Tracy for $2. It's early, but Ravens go wide receiver or CB in the first. I'd probably lean receiver, but it depends. Is who's quarterback? Is Lamar still there? Are we doing a total teardown and rebuild and trading Lamar for a bunch of first-round picks? I think it'll be a couple months before I really dial in what to do with Baltimore because we don't know what's happening with the quarterback, right? But I would probably, all things being equal, if Lamar stays, I'd lean receiver again and just keep giving them more receiving talent over and over and over again. Because if we're going to pay Lamar a bunch of money, it better be worth it. Better be throwing for 1 billion yards, right? Spectrum. What can you do? Can't move soon enough, folks. Can't move soon enough. I hope none of you guys are doing shots every time I disconnect because you're no longer going to be with us tonight. You will be buried 6 feet under. So what was going on with Diggs and Allen on the sideline? For those of you that have audio, can you tell me what was going on? All right, I need to stop here so that we can get more. Oh, God damn it. I need to stop so we can get more Allen completions. Desperately need to stop. Brett, compare any one NFL player to any one Pokemon. That's a good question. Whoever the Bills' nose tackle is tonight, to Jigglypuff. Soft. Again, another run. What is that, like 8 in a row? Are you staying in California? Yeah, I am. I'm only moving. It's like 30 minutes away or so. Brett's 50 seconds behind. Yeah, I'm at 4:20. So what, you guys are in the 3-minute mark already? Do you get anything for 3 out of 5? No. I got to hit 4. So I need the Bills to get a stop. Like just anything, any stop at all. Any stop. And then I need the Bills to come back out and Allen to get 3 completions. And then I hit 4 out of 5 and I win my 900. If your audio is cutting in and out, refresh the stream. When did Cincy learn to run the ball like this? When they went up against a defense like Buffalo that has very malleable defensive tackles and is missing the only one that stops the run well, Daquan Jones. There we go. On like the 10th try, they stopped the run. We're in business, folks. I need 4 completions from Allen, and we're good to go tonight. That's it. That's all I need. No, 3 completions from Allen, and then I win my $900. That'll go a long way towards those bathroom floors, folks. Did you watch anime or read manga? Are they going for it? Are they just trying to draw him off? False start, right? If that was a false start, they're going to punt. Yeah, there we go. Did I watch? I mean, I watched some anime. Obviously, like Dragon Ball Z. I'm trying to think what else I watched. My wife watched a lot of Naruto growing up. I watched Rurouni Kenshin. Fucking love Rurouni Kenshin. Does Zoids count? And Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that count? Probably, right? I read a little bit of Hellsing when I was growing up. I'm sure there was others. I'm trying to remember. Vampire Hunter. My brother loved Vampire Hunter. I never watched it myself. Cowboy Bebop. I watched a little bit of it, but I wasn't super into it. My brother really was, but I was also kind of young at that time, so I watched it and was like, whatever. If I watched it again now, I'd probably like it a lot, but One Piece, never got into One Piece because everybody I talked to about One Piece in high school said that like you would literally have to spend the rest of your life watching it to catch up. And I did not have that kind of commitment in me, so I didn't. What is Pot of Greed, dude? It allows you to draw another card. I had a sick Red Eyes Black Dragon growing up. Oh my god, I fucking love that thing. All right, Alan, give me completions. There's one. Give me two more. Hey, Brett, big fan of your analysis videos. I find myself seeing things you talk about on the field during games, and it's made watching the Falcons slightly less miserable. I appreciate that very much, Akalan. I really do. I'm happy that I could, help you watch your favorite team a little bit closer. That makes me feel good. So thank you for that. All right, one more completion, boys. One more completion. Do you need completions plus dig yards? Yeah, I need one more completion and a shitload of digs yards, and that can go from 900 to 3,500 real quick. All right, there's my completion. So as long as Burrow does not throw for 40 yards, at least I'll get the 4 out of 5, and I win $900. But if we get a 50-yard completion to Diggs, and I hit 5 out of 5, it goes up to 3,500. Look at Eli Apple. Brett, you really helped me out get better at playing QB by studying film. Oh, that's also great to hear too. I have a lot of young players, both in college and high school, that follow me. They say that they enjoy the content, and it's like a supplemental way for them to, consume football and learn about it just like they do from their coaches. And that makes me feel good too. So, as a young player, I'm happy that you got something out of it. Josh Allen's cap hits start to get heavy next season. Is the Bills' title window becoming less, wide open? I mean, it's hard to say no, or it's hard to say no, because obviously the cap does become a little bit more of an issue as of next year. And there are clearly some holes on the roster. But I go back to it. We have to acknowledge that not all of the rosters on the field today. There's no Vaughn. There's no Daquan. 80% of the secondary is out. That is a legitimate issue too. So getting healthy next year is the most important thing. But they have to draft more interior defensive linemen that could stop the run. They have to. I would even take another swing at receiver, just because I feel like everybody outside of Diggs is inconsistent. Not bad, inconsistent. Two very different things. Running back, I don't necessarily think is that big of an issue that they have to go after it early again for like the fourth year in a row. There's other running backs in this class that you can get either late day 2, early day 3 that I think will be fine to round out the rotation, but it's not like they run the ball that much anyway. I would also say offensive line depth is something they should address too, but again, the holes are holes, and having Allen's cap hit makes them harder to fill, but there's not that many egregious holes that makes me think the window is closing. It's more so the window is just getting more difficult, That's how I see it. God, that stadium emptied out quick, huh? Look at that. Brett, were you surprised by the Bengals O-line today? For sure. I mean, they're missing 3 starters, right? How could you not be? But and the same thing happened last week, after Jonah went out and everything kind of got reshuffled again, and you're kind of concerned, like they still kind of imposed their will late in the game, right? So it's a physical group, man. It's a physical group, and I think sometimes people forget that beating somebody up is part of the sport, and they're really good at it. I got Pot of Greed. Is it 2 cards? I thought it was draw 1. Again, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In like 20 years, so give me a break here. Yeah, they're giving up. The Singletary surrender run. This game's over. Well, I think we're hitting 4 out of 5, and I think that's 900 for me. So that's a good start of the night. That's a very good start of the night. That means no matter what, we're positive because I got a $350 slip for the second game too. That will go over once this game's over. But good start today, boys. Did you ever say why you're a Texans fan? So my dad lived in Houston when I was growing up. So it was like around 2002. He was in Houston when the Texans started up. So I didn't really jive with any of the California teams. So I rooted for the Texans because that's just where my dad was, and I didn't even really get into football till high school. I mean, I was into football, but not like obsessed with football, right? And then I got to high school, became obsessed with football, and I had already rooted for the Texans, so they were my team. And then my dad moved to Chicago when I think it was later in high school, maybe earlier in college. Oh, he wants it all, and he got picked. That's ball game. Cam Taylor-Britt had an insane day. Hell of a job by him. And so when my dad moved to Chicago, I was like, well, I don't have an NFC team, and I'm not opposed to having an AFC and an NFC team. So I was like, what? Fuck it. I'll root for the Bears. They'll be my NFC team. And then I've been miserable ever since. But my dad lived over right across the street from Soldier Field in the Loop. And now he's back in California, but Burrow versus Chad Henne. Oh, man. So this should be an interesting AFC Championship weekend. I'm going to be hanging out with all the KC Sports guys, KC Sports Network guys in Vegas when they have to play against the great enemy once more in the championship. The one team they don't want to face. Oh, man. Congrats to Bengals fans, though. Back-to-back AFC championships. I think it's safe to say they're not a fluke, right? That dumbass narrative over the offseason. They're not a fluke. They're a real team. Hell of a job by them. Tough to match the Bengals' talent when you got Burrow, Chase, Higgins on rookie deals. For now, that money's coming due. Don't you worry, that money is coming due. Social media between the Chiefs and Bengals is about to be brutal. Yeah, probably. Probably. It's going to be the most toxic week on Twitter you have ever seen. How many more Diggs staying on the sideline missing the Super Bowl photos will we get? That's good. That's good. Hurst really stepping up in the playoffs. Yeah, remember when everybody said they were going to miss you, Zama? Not that much. Not that much. All right, when's the second game start? Like half hour from now, right? 25 minutes, I think. So I'm going to show you my slip that I got for the second game. I'll turn off the CBS score bug. So I got Brock Purdy. And remember, I hit 4 out of 5 in this one, so we're golden. We got $900 for this one. We're good. For the second one, if we can keep this going, try to get $1,800 or potentially over $4,000 on the day, which is vastly better than I expected, but here we go. We're going for it. I got Brock Purdy under 1.5 passing touchdowns because I think the Dallas defense is much better than anything he's faced before. And not to mention, even though Dallas has not played against a lot of two. There we go. All right, we're back. There we go. So, what I was saying, the Niners run 37% outside zone, fourth most in the league, right? And they do it a lot from two back. They run two back, the second most in the league, meaning a fullback on the field. I'm talking traditional two back, not like two actual running backs, right? They run that the second most in the league behind Miami because, of course, Mike McDaniel, all that kind of stuff. And so to me, because the Cowboys have faced only 4 snaps of traditional two back the entire season, it was tough for me to, figure out exactly what they were going to do. So I had to do a lot of speculation on this, but based on the 4 snaps that we saw in terms of how they lined up, and based on how they've played two back type of runs against 12 personnel, what I think they're going to do, DeMarcus Lawrence, put him at 6 technique over Kittle, so you win the front side edge, right? Because Kittle can block a lot of defensive ends. He's not taking out D-Law in the run game. So you put him at 6 technique. I'm going to draw this up. How about that? We got time. We got time, chat. I'm going to draw this up for you. All right. You guys deserve a good whiteboarding. All right. Let's do this. Okay, so here's the center. Let's go here. Quarterback. F. Let's go H. And then let's go Z. All right. I got my math right? Yeah, got my math right. Okay, so here's how I expect the Cowboys to play it. Here's Juszczyk. He can kind of be anywhere, but they really like to run kind of like this offset eye stuff. So I'm going to set the 3 to the passing strength, or to the strength, right? I'm going to have, let's just say D for DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to be over Kittle. We're going to have that backside shade. And then we're going to have a 5, or like a heavy 5. And then we're going to have, let's just go, let's call it MI for Micah, right? So 5-man surface. Then we're going to put the Mike here, the Will here, because we're going to be really emphasizing shutting down the front side of these outside zone runs. And outside zone, we'll have like the scoop here, and then he's working up to the Mike, and then scoop here. Actually, no, he'd be working Will. Working Will, scoop here. He's working up. He's trying to get him sealed out. If we got the safety. He's coming to crack. So then we're leaving the corner. Boom. All right. So Micah generally going to be unblocked in the backside edge. I want to do a 5-man surface, and I want D-Law to, again, play this really aggressively, set a hard edge, get outside of Kittle, turn him, and force that cutback, because outside zone is run from gap to gap, outside in, right? So we're going to have, D-Law shutting that down, and then we want, once this tackle goes up to the Mike, we want the 3 to fight against that and still win front side here. So force him to bend back even more. As he goes up to the Will, we want the nose to still win front side on that scoop, to force cut back again and again and again, so that when these linebackers, because if they're not having to get front side, because these defensive linemen are winning front side, they can do what's called a fallback fit, which is you kind of read the cutbacks coming and you can fall back because you know that this nose is going to steal both A gaps, right? And you know that this 3 technique is going to steal that C gap, right? Because if you're still winning front side and the scoops aren't working, and the guy who's taking over the scoop isn't getting, movement on you, the only way to go is to cut back. So then you can do the fallback fits and you take away the run. And then Micah, all he has to do, he doesn't have to worry about washing down the line of scrimmage to take away the cutback. He goes and gets Purdy because you want to take away the boot game. It's all you care about. Is get your best athlete in space against Purdy, who's quick as fuck. He's got 1.55, 10-yard split. You want him to take away the boot so that it takes away all of these crossers, right? It takes away all that deep comeback. Quarterback can't throw those if he's on the ground, right? So Micah's one job is to play the weak side edge against two-back, take away the quarterback. You get D-Law shutting everything down front side so they can't hit front side on outside zone, and you trust your 3 and your nose to allow the linebackers to fall back or play the cutback lane. That is how you stop this offense. And I think the Cowboys are one of the few that is talented enough to still do that against San Francisco. It's not easy. San Francisco's amazing. But schematically speaking, it's your only shot. That is your only shot. And I think the Cowboys have a decent chance at it. Micah can't handle Trent in the run game. He doesn't have to. Trent's not taking on Micah here. Because I'll tell you what, if they're locking the backside of zone and Trent's locking him, who's taking the edge? Right? Nobody. Unless guard's taking him, and then who's taking, on outside zone, backside edge, at least on this style of outside zone, if you're running it that way, unless you're doing a sift block, right, with the fullback. But if you're doing a sift block with the fullback, you're basically conceding all manner, because the reason why you would want the fullback to go front side is to help Kittle on D-Law, right? So if you're doing a sift block, you're basically conceding that this run's not hitting front side, and these linebackers can fall back into it. So, run fits 101. It's tough. It's tough, right? How good is their nose guard? Good enough. Because from that personnel grouping, I'm trying to think, from base, who plays? Because it's not, who's the kid they just drafted a couple years ago? It's not Neville. It's Hankins, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Hankins. Hankins can do that. Hankins is fine. Hankins is he's a grown man. Am I out again? Did I die in the middle of explaining? No, I think we're good. All right. What was I saying? Right. So if we're going through chat, let me know if I just dropped out again. I don't think I did. I think we're all right. So if we're going through this slip, because of how I think the Cowboys are going to play them on defense, and specifically taking away Purdy, right? And they'll live with the fact that they're going to run it a million times with Christian McCaffrey and bank on the fact that you're going to be trading 10-play, run-heavy drives instead of maybe an 8-play drive with an explosive pass play. And they're going to dare you to do those 10-play drives 5 times in the same game, right? I think that's how they're going to play it. So I'm doing Purdy under 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm going to do McCaffrey higher than 68.5 rushing yards. I'm going to do Dak higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. And I'm doing CD higher than 76.5 receiving. The reason why I'm doing CD higher is because typically how the Niners play their defense, they do a lot of middle field close structures in the first half. And then in the second half, they run a lot